It has been almost 2 weeks since ESPN has broadcasted a race, but here we are at the Michigan International Speedway in Brooklyn, Michigan for the penultimate race of the inaugural season for the Sim Racers Edge Alpha Series. Hello, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. Alongside me is Tony Trapasso. Tony, it's been a while. It's going to be a great race, though, tonight.
It's always a great race when we show up at the house that Penske built. Brooklyn, Michigan, one of the most beautiful area that has a racetrack in it next to next week's race, of course. But yeah, no, this is, as far as ovals go, you're going to be hard pressed to find one that's going to give you better action than Michigan.
It certainly will be. We're in the midst of a 10-minute qualifying session right now. We're looking at the man who currently sits atop the points, the timing standings, the 31 of Scott Rammler. Now, Rammler, if I remember right, this would be his first race with Sim Racers Edge. He's actually pulling it off here to end. I'm sorry, that was to end his second lap. We'll go back to fifth position. This is Charles Woods in the 40 on his second lap. But Tony, point standings are going to start really becoming a factor as the man who is trying to chase down the points leader, Nate Siefker, just took over second place after his second lap with a 32.88. 32.83. Chris Samard, he's going to need to make up some time and some points here this week.
He's got 28 points to make up on Nate Siefker, and he's got 2 races left to do it. Actually, he's only technically got 1 race left to do it because we all know that next week's a road course, and we know what's going to happen when you turn Nate Siefker loose on a road course.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, but if Samard is able to pull off the miracle, with the way that the point standings are structured in this league, if there is a tie, the nod would go to Samard on the tiebreaker.
Yeah, because this series does what is known as a drop race, which is where you take your lowest race, your worst race of the season, and you drop the points from that race as Ronnie Osmer crosses the line in the 11th position. Dan Brazington also just crosses the line. He will go to 8th. Carl Burke just finishing his second lap here. He will jump up to the 6th position as we look at Robert Dudley in the 49. Nice to see Robert Dudley. We're used to seeing him on Thursday nights with the USRA. He's back here now with Sim Racers Edge.
Yeah, we haven't seen Robert in a couple of weeks. It's good to see him back. Running a little bit different car than he's run in the past. He's got that newer version of the Valvoline paint scheme. I've never really been a fan of that version of it, but it is a beautifully painted car.
Jeffrey Roulette takes pole. He set a new purple first half of the lap. He's not going to be as quick on the second half of the lap, but he will be quicker overall as Jeffrey Roulette now goes to the top. Johnny Antonucci finds himself in the 15th position. And wouldn't you look at what the cat drug in? Driving the 102 tonight, Sam Cooper Bennett, running his first race for Sim Racers Edge, and just last night had some big news involving Sam. It may not be as often as he used to be, but he'll be back in the booth starting in 2021.
That means I get a night off again? Means I get a night off again?
What about me?
Screw you, I get a night off again.
You might get a couple now. But
at least one would be great.
So Sam pulls it off here. He'll start in the 14th position. Kieran Brigelli, Jeff Hollingsworth on track right now, the winner from 2 weeks ago at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Coming out of turn 2 to set his first lap. A little bit further up the road from him is the man who won the pole for Indianapolis. Had a good run at the beginning half of the race 2 weeks ago at Homestead. Rick Ravon sets his first hot lap, and it will put him up to 21st at a 33.23.
Which, that's not bad, but it's not great. And don't get confused, ladies and gentlemen, because there are 2 Gould Charge cars in the field tonight. The 31 and the 5. Actually, no, I take that back. The 31's a Norton car.
Yeah.
So, yes, Penske well represented here tonight.
Rick Ravon up to P2. Hollingsworth just now crossing the line. He will jump up to P6 in this qualifying session. Now here's Kieran Bergelli.
Bergelli goes second quick.
Yeah, Ravon second quick.
Oh, yeah. Okay. No, I'm sorry. I'm not drunk enough to do this yet, folks.
3 guys yet to qualify as we see Bergelli coming out of turn 4. And Kieran will cross the line in the 19th position, setting a 32.93. So of 27 guys here to take part in tonight's race, we got 2.5 minutes left in the qualifying session. Here is one of them who is going to take qualifying here. There's Michael Bourne in the 19. We saw him back in Indianapolis, had a tough run 2 weeks ago at Homestead as well. So Michael Bourne looking for a redemption run here this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's definitely not had the season that he was hoping for. So if you're going to turn your season around, Michigan is definitely the place that it can happen. And not brushing the wall, you're not going to be able to do it. Thanks for proving me wrong there, Mike. But Michigan's one of those tracks where you can run 3, 4, and 5 wide, and get away with it. It's a pucker moment when you're 4 wide. It's definitely a squint your eyes and pray moment when you're 5 wide, but you can do 3 wide all night long.
And this is especially, I'm thinking we're going to see a very similar race to what we saw back at the season opener at Auto Club. It's a very similar racetrack, very similar in design. However, there's a lot more banking here to help these cars sort of rotate through the middle of the corner. You can run anywhere you want in these corners flat out and feel incredibly comfortable that the car is going to do what you want it to do. As Michael Bourne, because of that wall scrape on his first lap, did not get a time set. So this will be his one and only qualifying time that will be accepted.
The only biggest difference is Auto Club is set up for night racing. Michigan is not. And I'm looking at the weather right now, and good luck, boys.
You can see it on the side there. 83-degree ambient temperature, 115-degree track temperature, which means this track is going to be slick and greasy all race long. We have about 30 seconds left in the qualifying session. Michael Bourne must have had something happen to him there, as that second lap did not count either.
Banged the wall.
Yeah, banged the wall again. As Mike Grandy Sr. and Andrew McMurray are also a part of this field that did not set times. So again, it'll be 27 drivers set to take the grid here tonight. And speaking of that grid, it is going to be Jeffrey Roulette at the top of it, who put in a wonderful qualifying lap. And when we look at these qualifying times here in just a moment, there are a lot of guys that are incredibly, incredibly close to each other in times.
Absolutely. And I do want to mention that McMurray in the 38 did not pass technical inspection. The pit stewards are not letting him put the car on the grid.
So he unfortunately will be missing the grid as well. So we are going to now look at the starting lineup for the Midwest Mayhem 400 from the Michigan International Speedway. Jeffrey Roulette takes pole with a 32.799. Rick Ravon completes row one. Scott Rammler in that somewhat sister car to Ravon will start inside row 2. Outside of row 2 will be Chris Samard. And if you notice there, 4 1,000ths of a second separates second from fourth. So you could tell what kind of race tonight is going to be. Will Fletcher and Jeff Hollingsworth make up row 3. Row 4 will go to Johnny Antonucci and Butch Davis. Antonucci and Davis both set the exact same time in the qualifying session, but because Antonucci set it first, Antonucci gets the position. Brett Beasley and Yari Brupatcher make up row 5. Row 6 will be Carl Burke and Nate Siefker, while row 7 will go to Raul Alvarez. First time we've seen Raul in quite some time. And Timothy Bates, the winner of the season opening race.
Dan Brazington going to be starting next to Sam Cooper Bennett in row number 8. Row 9, we see Jeff Bogan and Charles Woods. Kieran Bergelli and Ronnie Osmer rolling off in row 10, with row 11 going to Robert Dudley and Paul Crumrye. Tony Phillips and Kevin O'Brien make up row 12. And starting in row 13 is going to be Mike Grandy and Mike Bourne. So 26 cars scheduled to roll off here tonight. 200 laps of scheduled distance, unlimited tires, and only a 81% fuel fill.
So these guys will have to pit a little bit more often than what we would normally see out of these guys. Tony, it's going to be a fantastic night, our final race of the 2020 calendar year, and we'll talk more about the end of the year at the end of this race. But man, I'm really excited knowing what we saw at Auto Club and how crazy Auto Club was. From first to second to last, sorry Kevin, all within 0.2 of each other. This is going to be a wild night.
Absolutely. And Sam Cooper Bennett electing to take an EOL, being as it is his first race on track. So that's going to move a couple drivers up and a couple drivers back. But field working its way out of the 3-4 complex, ready to turn them loose. Jeffrey Roulette has the trigger. He's holding them down as the pace car is in. Green flags in the air, and we are underway for the Midwest Mayhem 200.
Oh, they're already wrecking in the back. That's Paul Crumrye.
There it goes.
In the back. Try to find it. Might have been Kevin O'Brien as well. We're going to see if we can find it here. I think Timothy Bates.
Crumrye spun the tires. O'Brien just banged him.
There's Johnny Antonucci. Oh, boy, a ton of damage on the side of the 13 of Antonucci. And we will take a look here at what has happened on this race start. See here, it looked like Crumrye, yeah, you're right. Crumrye spun the tires, got run over by Kevin O'Brien, and that just set off a whole chain of events. Tony Phillips involved in it as well. Wait, who's that shooting up the middle? That's Kieran Bergelli shooting up the middle. Boy, Bergelli had one heck of a start. Let's take a look at that. We'll try to see as far back as we can get.
Wow.
Kieran Bergelli, though, had a monster start.
Yeah, but look at what happened in front of him.
Yeah, we're gonna ride on board with Kieran Bergelli here on this race start. I believe that's Jeffrey Bogan in front of him.
Yeah, but look at the two black cars. I think one of them's Antonucci.
Yeah, wow, what a start. Just going to keep following this. The wreck has already happened, and then, yep, there's Antonucci, and that's Yari Brupatcher. That was there, but boy, oh boy, what a start. For the driver of the 98.
That was bad.
Yeah,
that was just, I don't know what Brupatcher was trying to do. He just turned down into Antonucci.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at it here now. As the field's slowly working their way. I think they're trying to, there's, I'm not seeing the safety car here for some reason. We're going to see, the wreck has already happened here. We'll try to find what happened. Is there you see Yari Brupatcher up in the wall, turning down off of it.
And something's going on with Raul Alvarez, too. It didn't really exactly... Oh, he caught a piece of it, too.
Yeah, there was one car we did see down there, down at the bottom.
In the 15.
Boy, that was just... There was wrecking everywhere on that one. So I believe the field has now caught up to the pace car. Yep, there it is. As you see, Yari Bruphatcher's right there. I believe that Sam Cooper Bennett is in there. Michael Bourne in front of Jeffrey Roulette. Should be getting the wave around here.
Timmy Bates caught a piece of that one, too.
Yes, he did. As I'm honestly surprised that... Now, typically in NASCAR, as we get set to go green flag racing here, typically in NASCAR, that move by Kieran Bergelli would be deemed illegal because you can only pass on the outside on a restart prior to the start line. Not trying to tattletale or anything, but Bergelli just shot the gap right down the middle. It was an incredible start from Kieran.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely. Well, when did he start making that pass? That's the question.
Oh, he was already past several cars prior to the start line. But in any event, Bergelli will start now in 8th.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Bergelli will start in 11th right now. He's up 8 spots. I believe I said 8th. He'll start in the 11th position, up 8 spots from where he started. Nate Siefker in front of him in 10th.
3. He got 3 cars to their inside before the start-finish line.
Yeah, so he got 2 rows of he got 3 rows of cars, and then the 2 that crashed in front of him on that restart before turn 1.
Well, I'm talking just before the start-finish line. He caught 3 rows of cars. Then he got another row in front of that. And then all hell broke loose in front of him as he cleared the 10.
And as we're seeing, the restart has been waved off here. So Jeffrey Roulette holding on to a very calm lead at the moment. We're working on lap 4 after the early start. After the early wreck at the start of this race.
And as far as guys that have already burned their fast repairs, Raul Alvarez, Tim Bates, Yari Bruphatcher, Tony Phillips, Johnny Antonucci, Paul Crumry, Kevin O'Brien.
Yeah, pretty much anyone who was involved in those wrecks, because those wrecks are big. And we saw 2 weeks ago, especially with the new, that was the first race on the new tire models in the new cars. We saw how precious those fast repairs can be, especially in one of these scenarios. That really hurts to lose them on lap 1 of a 200 lap event.
Oh yeah, it's not just the new tire model either. It's the new tire and the new aero model, which is probably going to come into play later on in the race. And what we mean by that, folks, is there's the way the physics works in iRacing now is the closer you get to the wall, all the air that's being pushed around the car reacts differently the closer you get to that wall now. So, and it also acts differently with the cars around you trying to, do what they need to do, as I believe the pace car just went in.
Pace car is off. We are getting set to restart now. There goes the race leader, Jeffrey Roulette. And we are back racing, looking for our first lap in anger here, working lap 6 of 200 here at Michigan.
I almost got to think Roulette right now is a sitting duck with the gap that he was able to pull on Ravon on that restart, because all Ravon's going to do right now is...
Oh, they're wrecking in the back again. Another big wreck, and I believe Crumry is involved in that one as well.
Ouch.
Yep, Crumry, there's his nose gone.
Dudley's
Antonucci again.
Involved.
Yeah, there's so we've first time back in 2 weeks here, and we have bitten the bullet here already twice.
That kind of started with Robert Dudley catching the apron going through 1 and 2, which is not what you want to do. And he just snapped, see you bye, and there goes 3 other cars with him.
Yep, you saw that right at the beginning, right at the very front of your screen there was Dudley. And you could also take a look at the new damage model that was put in as well.
It's fun to look at from a standpoint of watching, but as a driver, not so much.
See Dudley just clip that inside apron as he's coming back on track. There's Bergelli has nowhere to go, and then from there it's Michael Bourne involved, and the same thing with Johnny Antonucci. And again, we were just talking about Antonucci and Crumry using fast repairs. So 7 laps in before they turn an actual lap, their races are done.
Yeah, not something you want to see for anybody, especially. I mean, you're talking about 4 of the nicest guys off the track.
Yeah,
just got annihilated.
Yeah, certainly not what you're wanting to see here. So we're working lap 9 of 200. We've already had 2 cautions, 2 retirements, and a 26-car field. To this point, Paul Crumry and Johnny Antonucci, those guys are done for the evening, as Kevin O'Brien currently sitting as the last car on track in the 84, sitting in the 24th position. And bringing up Kevin O'Brien, had a season-best third-place finish at Homestead, which turned into be more of a test of attrition than anything. And O'Brien was able to weather that test of attrition, got himself his first podium.
And you know why he got that podium, I found out?
Why did he get that podium, you found out?
Because he got some new peripherals from our league sponsor, Turn Racing.
Yes, and it's, you know what? It's as if you were looking at my monitor, because that's exactly what I was pulling up, Turn Sim Racing. Turn Racing is merging the gap between sim sports and motorsports. Turn Racing provides top-flight sim racing equipment to help enhance your skills in your sim racing experience. Turn Racing also offers a full race guide to help better your skills and put you a step above the rest. Head on over to turnracing.com to take your sim racing equipment and your ability to a professional level at an affordable price. And with that, we will also take this time here, as I believe we've got 1 lap to go, to mention our other sponsor, Diecast Nuts. Diecast Nuts is a community site for people who love diecast, whether you want to post your collection, view other members' collections, or buy or trade or to add to your collection. Diecastnuts.com is the #1 place to go. Other automotive memorabilia is available as well at diecastnuts.com. That's nuts with a Z, diecastnuts.com, or find them on Facebook by searching Diecast Nuts.
And I actually bought myself a holiday gift with one of their garage signs, and I could not be happier at all with the quality of work in that custom Mopar sign that I got from them. So if you want something special for the gearhead in your life, birthdays are coming up, there's still other holidays coming up. Ladies, we like presents on Valentine's too.
Yeah. As the pace car ducks off, about to start lap number 10 here of this event, Jeffrey Roulette still in the race lead. There he goes. We are back to green flag racing. Hopefully we get a lap in this time here at Michigan.
Fingers crossed, as we've already got some jockeying for position. It looks to be right around Butch Davis. He's slugging it out with Brett Beasley and Nate Siefer, your points leader.
Yep, we're seeing that there. Nate Siefer maintaining position. There's Kieran Bergelli right behind him. Ronnie Osmer making a move behind him. That's Osmer trying to get around Charles Woods in the 40. Still side-by-side action.
Oh, there it goes.
No. Oh, what a big accident there. That's Burke, I believe. Yep, it is Carl Burke. And I think Kieran Bergelli. Well, we almost made it one. As we'll see what happened. Just Bergelli pushing up in 3 and 4. And boy, they almost collected. I believe that was Tony Phillips in the 32 as he just scooted by.
Almost got Ronnie Osmer, too.
Yeah.
You know what that looked like, though? I mean, that wasn't really anything egregious. A lot of that looked like the new Aero model coming into play.
Yeah, that's just going to say that just looked like Aero push.
Well, it was Aero push, and then, you hear it all the time in stock car racing with the full fendered stuff. I took the air off my spoiler. Well, that's kind of what we just witnessed with Bergelli.
Yep, that was exactly it. As we see there that Rick Ravon currently holds the lead of the race. And while we were back in the middle of the field watching what was going on there, here's the pass by Ravon going into turn 3 for the race lead. Roulette giving him more than enough room to make that pass. And there's Ravon to the race lead.
And that's exactly what I was talking about just before the previous caution came out. This time, Ravon had enough time to make that move happen. Because of the jump that Roulette was able to get, he was just going to be a sitting duck by the time they got to turn 3. Because these cars with the new Aero, especially with the new Aero model, draft up so beautifully. You take a look just before the pass went. Let me just pause it there. There's an 10-mile-an-hour difference between Ravon and Roulette because of the draft that Ravon was able to get going down the back chute.
Yeah, and I mean,
that's
we saw
insane.
And we saw it at Auto Club too. We saw it a little bit at Texas also, where these cars suck up so incredibly well. It's almost like getting too good of a restart at Daytona or Talladega when you're talking about a full fender stock car. Pretty much the same here, but because these cars go so much faster, because they're so aero dependent, because their center of gravity is so much lower, that draft really makes an impact here and a lot quicker than what you would see in a stock car.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're talking roughly the same amount of horsepower weighing 1,500 pounds less. So just that on its own, you're talking speeds that are ludicrous to begin with, and then you add the draft to it, and basically when we're talking about draft, it would be like driving down the highway, folks, and you follow a tractor trailer. That tractor trailer is punching a huge hole in the air, and if you follow that tractor trailer, maybe a car length and a half off of it, if you'll notice, you don't have to push the accelerator as much to go the same speed. And you're also saving fuel, and you're also, you've got power in reserve. So, the hole that these cars punch in the air, they're not that big of a car, but they do punch a pretty decent sized hole, big enough that, I mean, you're talking 10 miles an hour. If you just take a look at the qualifying times that these guys put up, 10 miles an hour is the difference between what would have been first and 90th.
Yeah.
I'll say it again, 90th. At the same split rate that they're going between first and second, or first and each position behind them in qualifying. So that's huge. And Ravon just made the same mistake.
Yeah, you can see that big, massive jump that Ravon gets out to. Jeffrey Roulette now will get a taste of that draft heading down into corner number 1. And still looking for our first full green flag lap here tonight, as I believe that's Robert Dudley coming out of pit road there as these guys flash on by. Ravon, Roulette, and Rammler, the top 3. Chris Samard is in there as well. Last week's winner, Jeff Hollingsworth, is in this mix as well, as I believe we've had an issue with Carl Burke. We have no caution has come out. We'll get to that in just a second here. But this battle for the race lead is going to start to heat up here. If you remember back to Auto Club, there were a couple of big packs, as there you see now Scott Rammler on the outside of Jeffrey Roulette looking for that second position.
I got an update on Carl Burke. He caught the bump coming off of turn 2 that's down low near the apron. Didn't catch the apron, but caught the bump that's there. Yep. And it just hurtled his car, hurled right towards the infield.
Oh, and you just saw the hit that Carl Burke took. That was a hard lick on that inside wall, as we've now had Rammler fall back to 5th. Chris Samard, who really needs a good finish here today after having a very unsuccessful trip out in the last 2 races, the Indy 500 and at Homestead, up to second position now. He's really starting to put the pressure on Rick Ravon, knowing what he needs to do, and that's have a good finish. He is going to the lead.
And that was 100% draft aided right there, as Ravon's going to suck right into him right now. As Roulette drops down low to protect, Ravon throws it to the inside of Samard, and Samard's got to figure out where to time his runs so that he gets it at the line, as he sucks right up to Ravon. A good 5 mile an hour faster, but give that lap to Ravon by 5/1000ths of a second.
Samard now will lead going into turns 1 and 2, but the battle right now is really for third position, as Hollingsworth has gotten around the pole sitter Jeffrey Roulette. He has Brett Beasley and Scott Rammler running side by side behind him. Will Fletcher in this group as well, as we got a lot of close racing here. Not as close as it was at Auto Club, but certainly the pack is there.
It's not as close yet, because I think these guys have learned some things from the Auto Club race, and they realized that, you can't race the way that they were racing at Auto Club, especially on this new tire model, especially with this new aero model, because the cars handle so vastly different. Your same base setup will work, but you've got to be right on top of your adjustments in car with the track bar, with the weight jacker, to make sure that you keep that car as stable as you can, because that's going to be the key to being there at the end of this thing.
We're riding on board with Chris Samard here. Watch how quickly this car is going to suck up and just fly right on by Rick Ravon going into turn 3. Well, that just shows you what these guys are having to deal with. That is a massive closing rate between these two cars, as now Ravon gets a great run coming down through the tri-oval into turn 1, is able to take the lead around the outside because of that run. He had top 233 going into turn 1, not letting off the gas at all.
And Samard was at 224. So that's 8 miles an hour. That's huge. And there's no way to really defend against that without putting both of you on the hauler and in the hospital.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Is look at also noticing everyone else is sort of running that middle line. I'm noticing one guy that seems pretty set on running the outside lane, and that's the 69 of Brett Beasley. You're going to see him pop up here once we get a little bit more depth of view in the camera here. There he is in that red number 69. And Roulette, Beasley really running that outside line, using it to his advantage here. One, to take the aero push off the nose of the car, and probably to save a little bit of fuel.
Well, you're saving a little bit of fuel. You're saving a lot of bit of tire. And you're kind of running where there's not turbulent air. You're getting the front wing into clean air going through the corner. So the handling is definitely going to be improved by running where the car in front of you isn't.
Boy, you see it there at the back of your screen. Ronnie Osmer getting pinched up against the wall by William Fletcher in that white and red number 37. Nate Siefker currently sitting in front of Ronnie Osmer, and we thought Brett Beasley was running the high line. Look at that entry line that Osmer took going into turn one, as we have two distinct packs now starting to really show. It's the top six or so, or the top five, and then there's 6 through 10.
And then there's 11 through 14th.
Staggering off just a little bit, as there you see flashing by your screen there. That was Butch Davis in the 43, the Indianapolis 500 winner, flashing to the inside of pole sitter Jeffrey Roulette, as Roulette will be able to maintain position on that outside line. Davis falls in line, but Nate Siefker is going to take the inside line, running right down by that apron, which in a full-fendered stock car, not necessarily what you want to do. It is a little bit flatter down there, as boy, Osmer got really close to that wall.
Lap traffic.
Yep, lappers coming up now. That is the number 19 of Michael Bourne in that sister car to the 66 of Jeffrey Roulette. He's getting past now. Brett Beasley has made that high lane work for him. He is up to the third position now. Hollingsworth has fallen to fourth, Rammler to fifth. Hollingsworth running that inside line, but you can see again, Beasley definitely has found something up on that outside lane. He's been able to gain positions, gain time. He's going to be right up to these guys probably by the end of the lap. By the end of the corner, maybe.
I was going to say, probably before the exit of the corner. But yeah, I mean, we're seeing something very similar to what we saw at Auto Club, and it has to do with the fact of the progressive banking. It has to do with the fact of the width of the racing surface. It has to do with the fact that, these guys have got to figure out we're under caution.
Yep, and it was Michael Bourne, from what we're seeing here, right as Rick Ravon had made the pass on Chris Samard. We're going to see here, it's already happened. There you see the back end, and a massive hit.
Yeah, go ahead and back that up to turn one.
Yeah, we're going
to... He was out trying to stay out of the way of Butch Davis and the guys behind him, and just misjudged the width of his own car.
Yeah, backed it up a little bit.
Wait a second.
Too far, actually, here. We're going to see now.
That was an arrow hip check.
Yeah, we're going to see here is... I think I still backed it up a little too far. Sorry, this has been...
Go to the onboard with Ronnie Osmer and watch what happens.
Yeah, we're going to see here. There's Roulette on the outside. Bourne on the outside. It's going to come, I believe, next lap here. So there's Butch Davis around him. Yep, and yeah, that was Butch Davis did a little bit of a jink towards the outside.
And he just shoved all that air into Michael Bourne, and Bourne was just along for the ride at that point.
I think Bourne unfortunately gave up a little too quick there, because we noticed it at Homestead and it has not been fixed yet. There is a little bit of a glitch where as leaders are all in now, except for Nate Siefker, actually, as Ravon wins the race off of pit road. There is a little bit of a glitch where if you do clip that wall on the outside, yes, it will visually break your tire for a second or two, but it will self-repair. And by the time that Bourne had started to turn towards the apron, it had self-repaired by then. And that was, unfortunately, the end of Bourne's race. It was a little too late.
Well, the thing is he was trying to fight it, and coming off a 2, again, he caught that bump as the car went down the track, caught the bump coming off a 2. And, we've already seen it a couple of times tonight. You catch that bump on the inside of 2 and snap see you bye. You're along for the ride.
No, but that wasn't even what happened. He just kind of lazily, it just kind of went that way.
Well,
it was as if he had thrown his hands up and said, done.
Well, I mean, the thing is you know, it might, and I'm going to use your term self-repair loosely, but it's still, as Seifker comes into the pits, it's still going to, force you to do a repair. He's already burned his fast repair.
Yeah.
So he's already called it a night. Carl Burke has called it a night. Johnny Antonucci has called it a night, as has Paul Carmry.
Seifker gets his bonus point for leading a lap, so that's big in the championship race because Chris Samard has already led several laps here this evening. Rick Ravon currently leading the race. Only 4 lap leaders here tonight. That would be Ravon and Samard 1 and 2. Jeffrey Roulette, the pole sitter, obviously has led, and now the 10 of Nate Seifker. So Seifker has gotten that bonus point to cover off the 77.
I don't think he did.
Might have done that. So as the field works their way through turns 3 and 4, we'll see now, because you were talking about that jump on the restart. Ravon had gotten that big jump, but he had gotten out so far ahead that Roulette was not able to get to him on that last one. Let's see if he does the same thing again here as the pace car pulls off. We are getting set to go back green, and yep, there goes Ravon off again. Chris Samard does look a little bit closer than Roulette did. I think Ravon might not have gone early enough to be able to keep the lead going into 3.
It's definitely going to be a battle, but Samard's also got to worry about Jeff Roulette right now, as Roulette's got that Texaco Haviland 60, or Beasley has that Texaco Haviland 69 wound right up. Yep. As there they go, and Ravon might lose 2 here before he's done.
Yep, and just as I had suspected, was not out far enough, as Samard now will take the race lead. Brett Beasley and Rick Ravon still battling each other side by side going down into turn number 1. Jeff Hollingsworth hanging out there as well, last week's winner.
We're 3 wide.
Yep, as Ravon still trying to hang it on that outside. He's going to maintain the second position and now put the attack on Chris Samard to go for the race lead. He will get it going into turn 3.
There's about a 6-mile-an-hour difference because of the draft that Ravon was able to get going on that back chute. And he used it to his advantage to the fullest. As Samard battles back to the inside as they haul it through the tri-oval portion. Looks like Seifker just coming out of the pits now. He may have gotten popped for speeding earlier.
Yeah, that would be the only reason why. Again, I think it's a 40-second hold now for pit road speeding on entry. On pit exit, as Ravon goes for the lead again. On pit exit, it's a come back in to serve that penalty, and under caution, it is a tail end of the longest lap.
Right, and because of the lights already being out on the pace car when Seifker released from his pit stall, you're serving this under green flag conditions.
As you see Butch Davis now trying to hold off Scott Rammler and Ronnie Osmer now taking a look as the leaders go 3 abreast through turns 3 and 4. Brett Beasley's going to have a run, but boy, Hollingsworth getting really close to that wall coming off at turn 4. He's got the draft help from Rammler, and he's going to be able to push through as Scott Rammler maintains that 5th position. And now he's going to try to go around the outside of Hollingsworth. They're 3 wide for the 4th position.
As Butch Davis wisely backing out of that one, knowing that discretion is the better part of valor, especially this early in the race, and especially with all the other stuff that's been going on. That's going to let Rammler get up to 4th, Hollingsworth back to 5th. Osmer now with a run going up into 6th. Davis is back to 7th as these guys are just flat getting it.
You can tell with these on-the-wall shots that we've got, you can really get a sense of the speed that these guys are going. Chris Samard hit 230 that last time around. As you see these guys fanning out, that's the 37 of Will Fletcher going on Jeffrey Roulette down in turn number 3. That's for the 8th position, as Roulette has not had the race pace that we had expected last week, as we had expected from how he qualified, as Samard getting passed again by Rick Ravon for the race lead.
And it's dangerous for the rest of the field, for the rest of the race, because Samard has got his timing down, so he knows where he's got to go to get that run, to get the position for the stripe.
Especially dangerous, though, for Nate Seifkers. He's 3 laps down at this point, back in the 20th position, and his championship competitor, well, really championship competitors, are running in 2nd and 7th on this race, and Samard is going to be getting, or is going to at least have a sniff at the most laps led bonus points as well.
Absolutely, and you know, that's not it's what Samard needs. It's dangerous for Seifker. Butch Davis right now, he's in the catbird seat because he sees what's going on in front of him, and he's just kind of cruising in that number 7 spot, and just he's within striking distance, but he's far enough back that when all hell breaks loose in front of him, as we all know is going to happen, because you've got 6 Type A personalities all jockeying for position in front of Butch Davis. You know, when all hell eventually, and we're back into caution.
Yeah, we are. It's the back, and unfortunately,
it's Cooper Bennett.
Yep, it is. It's Sam on the back straightaway. He does not have a front end on that Dallara, and unfortunately, he's going to have to tow, which means several laps down. Let's take a look and see what happened to Sam. Riding by himself, and he caught that bump. Oh, my goodness. He caught that bump that Carl Burke had caught. And see you later, that was it.
That's vomit cam material.
Yeah, that was a hard hit for the driver of the 102, Sam Cooper Bennett. Fortunately for him, though, he does have his fast repair, so he will be ready to go back at it again. We're seeing something had happened to Kevin O'Brien as well. Let's take a look on replay. As O'Brien might have just pulled it over and parked, and that's exactly what he did. He's going to pull off track here, stop, and call it an evening possibly, as the leaders now are in.
Judges' scores are in for the Sam Cooper Bennett crash. 9.9, 9.9, 9.8, 3.2 from the Romanian judge.
Nice.
Was not happy with the 9.5 spins that Sam just did.
Lucky him. As you see cars on pit road now. Took a second before what we finally got there. Ronnie Osmer down and away. Ravon's going to win the race off of pit road. Brett Beasley getting in and out in second. As there was another move I wanted you to take a look at, because while you were talking there, Jeff Hollingsworth made a worldly move. Hollingsworth went from, I believe, 6th to 3rd, battling side by side for 2nd, going through turn 3, and I don't think I'm going to be able to find it here properly.
Well, let me take a look and see what we got here.
I think this might be it.
Oh yeah, no, that was full send it mode from Hollingsworth.
No, it wasn't. We're going to take a look now. Let's try to move this up here, because I believe this is going to be turn 3.
It was.
Coming up on this next lap here from what we're showing. We're showing into turn 1 here. So he's in 5th right now. On board with Jeff Hollingsworth. He's going to get a heck of a run coming out of 2. Get that draft from Rammler right here, and just look at the dive. Picks up
Send
almost
it mode.
3 spots in one corner. And there you see Brett Beasley flash back by, but that was an incredible move from the driver of the 97.
Oh, absolutely. And then he was able to jump Brett Beasley in pit road.
Oh, so he did. Oh boy, he did just nose him out.
And Jari Brupatcher stayed out.
Yep, there is Jari Brupatcher. Brupatcher was a part of the first caution of the night prior to making it to turn 1. As Brupatcher currently sitting in the lead. Rick Ravon in second. Jeff Hollingsworth third. Brett Beasley in fourth. Chris Samard in fifth. Scott Rammler, Ronnie Osmer, Butch Davis, Will Fletcher, Jeffrey Roulette rounding out the top 10. Working right now on lap 42 of 200 here under our 5th caution of the evening. As there we see in the very background there, Sam coming out of pit road. There he is in that purple 102. As he's going to have Nate Siefker lining up behind him, and Nate Siefker now 1 lap down thanks to that caution flag.
He stayed out, so yeah.
So Siefker just 1 lap off of the race leaders. Coming to green here again, it'll be Jari Brupatcher leading them down. Gives the tires a little bit of a spin, but is good to go. We are off and racing lap 43 of 200 here at Michigan.
And that wheel spin might help him a little bit, but I don't think it's going to help him enough, as he did get a sizable jump on Ravon, as Ravon's starting to close in on him, and Beasley did not get the restart he needed, as he's now losing spots to Samard.
Yep, and Jari Brupatcher expecting him to fall back through the field here, has already lost positions to Ravon, and there goes Chris Samard! Try to catch up to him as he tumbles down my pylon here, as there is Samard in pit road. And that was collision as, wow, we stay green. As I believe that was...
He banged the wall.
He also
banged the wall.
He had somebody right up on him as well.
There was no contact with the other car. It was just... He banged the safer barrier, and just down the track he went.
We'll try to get a look at that. We will try to get a look at that here momentarily. I believe that was Rammler who was behind him. I still see a battle for the lead here now. Jeff Hollingsworth currently in race lead. Taking the best times that these guys have run. Not too far off of what they ran in qualifying. Ravon, I believe it was a 32.81. He ran in qualifying, running a 32.6 in the race here, and that's with all this draft help.
And Samard got popped for unsafe pit entry.
As you
would
imagine.
He was 105 mile an hour when he got to the cone.
Yeah, but to be fair, that was also, he was not in control of his car.
Oh yeah, no,
when
that's
he made
true,
the pit
but
entry.
you know the iRacing algorithm
doesn't care. As there goes Ravon back for the race lead on Hollingsworth. We'll take a look here now. This is Samard down the back straightaway. He's going to get around Brett Beasley here. Going through 3 and 4, he's going to push up the track. And then, yep, you're right, just pounded that safer barrier. You can see him off and spinning down into the pits. And unfortunately for him, that was that big points gap that he had completely wiped away.
Absolutely. Now 2 laps down to the field. They held him in his stall for 48 seconds. 8 seconds of that was the actual pit stop to change those flat-spotted tires.
And got the fast repair as well, so a 40-second penalty for an unsafe pit entry as Jeff Hollingsworth currently leading from Rick Ravon and Scott Rammler. Now, again, as we had mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, Ravon and Rammler look incredibly similar. If you want to tell the difference between the two, look for the blue nose. Look for the blue number, pardon me, on the nose of Ravon's car. Rammler has a white number on the nose of his car, so there is the difference between those two.
And if you're on high definition, the other difference is Rick Ravon's running a Gould Charge car that was run by Rick Mears, whereas Rammler is running the Norton Blue car run by, I believe it was Bobby Unser? No, Big Al Unser Sr.
As Jeff Hollingsworth goes back to the race lead, Rick Ravon having a little bit of a connection issue there. Yari Brubpatcher, surprised to say, is still hanging up here, running in the top three as Brett Beasley has to take some evasive action coming off the corner, bails out of his position. Brubpatcher having pit 12 laps earlier than these guys have. Brubpatcher's still hanging out up here.
Brubpatcher is being very impressive right now. The fact that he's on 11 lap older tires. Hang on to her, son.
Boy.
11 lap older tires. He also has 11 laps more fuel burned. So it's kind of a trade-off. He's got less grip, but he's able to keep with these guys because of the lighter fuel load. But it's probably going to bite him in the butt when he does have to go pit side, because A, if we stay green, he's going to have to come in 11 laps sooner, and B, he's going to have to get 11 laps more fuel if we go under caution.
So we'll hold him down in his pit box a little bit longer as Hollingsworth and Ravon continue to swap for the race lead. And if you remember back to Homestead, these two were really battling for the race lead throughout the first, I want to say, quarter of the race. We had a long green flag run in which Ravon got a little bit off sync from where Hollingsworth was. Hollingsworth was able to take the lead of the race. Then a spin coming off of turn 4 caused Ravon to really fall back. Ended up going backwards on track to get into pit road. And if you look back to the last broadcast, Ravon finishing in the 5th position on screen. That result was scrubbed for going backwards on track. So Ravon has only 1 points finish this year, and that's the Indianapolis 500.
Which was a race he'd probably just as soon forget, being as what happened there.
Yep. He had a wreck as well early in that race. I believe 20 or so laps in, had led the first 17, 18 laps, and then went out after that.
But if you take a look at the top 3, those guys are quickly becoming the usual suspects that you're going to see, in up towards the front of the field every race. Ravon, Davis, Hollingsworth, Beasley. Those guys are quick every week when we show up on an oval.
As Yari Brubpatcher still really hanging in there, as there is the aforementioned Indianapolis 500 winner, Butch Davis, now taking the lead. And we were talking about Samard needing a big points race as Davis just up and gets out of the way of Ravon, who knows he's coming through. Davis could also use a big result, such as Siefker having a bad day and him finishing up on the podium. So a very good run here, kind of in the same situation that Samard was in. Unfortunately for Davis, he's a little bit further back.
Right. I mean, if you take a look at the point standings coming into tonight, Siefker was in the lead with 245 points. Samard started the night 28 points back. Butch Davis started the night 10 points back from Samard. So the fact that now, okay, they've all negated the one lap led portion of the event, because Samard's led at least one lap, Davis has led at least one lap, and Siefker's led at least one lap. Now it's going to come down to point standings, and the maximum points you're allowed in a night is going to be 42. Being as we only had 26 starters, it's going to be a big point shakeup, but I don't think it's going to be enough for Davis, even if he does, from here moving forward, clinch most laps led and win the race. He's got to hope that Seifert drops out quickly and that Samard drops out quickly because right now there's only 20 cars still running, the last of which is Robert Dudley in 20.
Riding on board now with Butch Davis in that beautiful Andretti STP car. You can see that little tribute there on the little wheel well there. Because boy, he got really upset coming out of turn 2, had to back off, and Beasley and Rammler both split him going down the back straightaway and into turn 3. But right now, the reason why we're only really mentioning Samard, Seifert, and Davis is because those are the only 3 that are mathematically alive in the championship. Now, if Seifert were to have had a good night and came out of here 43 points in the lead from either Samard or from Butch Davis, we would be crowning a champion here tonight. But with the way this race has turned out, at least for right now, that doesn't look as though that will be the case.
I mean, I'm looking at the points breakdown with Seifert running currently in 18th. That's 12 points. Davis needs to win the race to
stay mathematically eligible.
To stay mathematically eligible, because that's 38 points right there for winning the race. Plus, there's bonus points on the line for leading a lap, which both he and Seifert have done. There's bonus points on the line for leading the most laps, which currently is Ravon. And from there, Davis has to have a 0 incident race for that bonus point. So, it's mathematically, yes, it's still possible, but we're going to a
Osmer around.
Osmer.
Caution is out as the wreck is in pit entry. Osmer lucky to not hit anything. We took you on board as Jari Brabhatcher came into pit road on a scheduled stop. As we had mentioned, he had come in a lot sooner than everybody else had. But Osmer getting away with a big spin there. And he will just drive through pit road.
When he does come back in, he's going to get held for 40 seconds
for
unsafe pit entry.
Yep.
But yes, it's mathematically possible that Samard and Davis still have a shot at getting by Nate Seifert. But it's going to be an uphill battle considering that we're going into next week's season finale at a road course. And we've known for the past few seasons that we've broadcast IndyCar racing here on ESPN. Nate Seifert is a road course ringer. We've seen him do what seem to be impossible things. So it's an uphill battle. Davis. It is possible, but it's not probable.
You see all these guys in pit road, and Jari Brabhatcher, the luckiest one of the group because his pit stop was already completed down and away, so he does not have to pit here under this caution flag. As you see Brett Beasley jet way out to the outside, and the 2 sister cars of Ravon and Rammler are out 1 and 2 from pit road. They will start 2 and 3 in the race once the race gets going back green again. But Rammler with a fantastic pit stop in the 31.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that was spot on his marks. Him and Rayvon both 8.1 in the box. The only one that was better than them was Jeff Roulette, who was 7.7 in his box.
And you can see Nate Siefker is in pit road. By virtue of the lucky dog, he will get his lap back. So Siefker now will be racing for position with the rest of the leaders. However, behind him is the guy you're seeing on screen right now. That is the 77 of Chris Samard. He is now the first car one lap down, but he is several laps down to the race leaders, has to come in later, is not going to try to stay out to try to get one of those laps back. He wouldn't anyway because Brupatcher was in front of him. So now what turned out to be a very good point stay, or what appeared to be a very good point stay not that long ago for the driver of the 77, is now flip reversed completely the other way.
Yeah, and it's kind of how his season has kind of gone. He hasn't had the normal Chris Samard season that we've come to expect. And it's not really been through fault of his own as much as it's been little things, getting caught up in other people's dumpster fires. The new aero package really wreaking hell with his driving style. And it's something that, Chris Samard's been around the sim racing sport long enough that, he'll get it figured out. The fact that he is as competitive as he is, right up until all hell breaks loose, tells me that he still has the speed. And once he figures out what in-car adjustments he needs to make, going into next season, expect to see him in the top of the point standings again.
And talking about the aero adjustments and the in-car adjustments and the change in aero that iRacing had implemented, he did win at Twin Ring Motegi this year, which really put him in the spot in points that he's in right now. However, that is under a completely different aero package than what we're racing with now. Jari Brupatcher will lead them down yet again. He will get a decent jump off of Rick Ravon, Scott Rammler, Butch Davis, and Brett Beasley, rounding out the top five as we end caution number 6 and begin lap 66 here at Michigan.
And everybody getting strung out a little bit. I mean, everybody's kind of got it figured out as Ravon not wasting any time to get by Beasley going into turn 3. Beasley trying to battle, or not Beasley, Brupatcher trying to battle back as Beasley's dealing with Butch Davis right now. Davis getting by the 69 to move into the number 4 slot. These guys, they know that, yes, the cautions are the greatest opportunity to try to make a move, but you've got to be smart about it, or else we're going right back under caution, and nobody wants to be that guy.
Scott Rammler able to fend off Butch Davis on an attack on the 3rd position. Now we've seen Brett Beasley all night long run that outside lane. Other guys starting to run it as well. We're seeing Scott Rammler in the 31 take that outside line. Jari Brupatcher as well. He goes to the inside of Rick Ravon here to take the lead. And, I mean, it'll only be until turn 3 before Ravon takes it back. But still, a nice move for the lead from Brupatcher, who's going to get left on that outside lane, which appears to be the lane that he's more comfortable in. As a matter, now actually, he gives Ravon the outside lane.
Well, it's kind of a smart move on Brupatcher's part, telling Ravon, if you want to get by me, you're going to do it the hard way. I'm not giving you the inside lane. He protected that inside lane, and that worked for him at the stripe. 16 thousandths to the good for Brupatcher. And here comes Butch Davis trying to follow Brupatcher through on that inside lane, getting a big hole punch for him right now with those two guys running side by side.
Running on board now with Scott Rammler, who is taking that outside line. And boy, look who comes in, flashing in on the left-hand side of the screen. That is Jeff Hollingsworth, who did exactly what he did before. Takes over 2 spots in the corner. He's now, I believe, on the outside lane of 3 wide. We are 3 wide for the race lead. That's Ravon in the middle, Hollingsworth now drops off, lets those two fight as Brupatcher putting up the biggest defense for the race lead we've seen all race. And boy, what a quick little jink from the driver of the 97 of Hollingsworth going to the inside. Hollingsworth to the point.
And Hollingsworth has got this figured out. He's one of those guys that, he's figured out the in-car adjustments that he needs to make. And that's something that you kind of expect out of Hollingsworth. Now, he only has 7 starts this season. We're on race 9. Hollingsworth's only started 7 races.
Race 10.
We're on race 10. We've got 9 in the books. I'm looking at the points right now. He gained 5 positions last week after winning. But if you break down his season so far, out of the 7 races that he's been in,
caution's out again here. As I believe this is Brett Beasley.
It is.
Yep, because Beasley's not where he once was. As there is Brett Beasley. And we'll see what happens. I believe Brett Beasley is going to do very similar to what Ronnie Osmer did, probably just lose it off of 4. And yep, that's exactly what happened.
Caught that bump with the transition to pit road, which is very easy to do. I mean, it's very easy to unsettle the car when you're that low on track. But, getting back to what I was talking about with Hollingsworth, he's only had seven starts. He already has the second most amount of bonus points of anyone in the league. Siefker, of course, having the most with clinching most laps led and whatnot on a regular basis. You get a bonus point for pole, you get a bonus point for most laps led, and you get a bonus point for a lap led. Hollingsworth has the second most bonus points of anybody in the league right now. And, he's steadily moved up. He's sitting in 10th in points right now with 2 drops as opposed to the 1 that everybody else has.
As drivers make their way onto pit road. Rick Ravon kicking the back end of that car out on pit entry. Same thing with Jeffrey Roulette. It's Yari Brupatcher who's down and away. He's going to get past Butch Davis. Brupatcher's going to be second off the line. And boy, Hollingsworth really did not have a good stop. Hollingsworth 9.2 seconds in his box. Compare that to Rick Ravon, who was 8.9 seconds. Slow stop for the Coast Guard crew.
That's very uncharacteristic, as both Karen Brigelli and Tim Bates stayed out. It's going to relegate Ravon back to 3rd, Brupatcher back to 4th, Butch Davis in 5th, Hollingsworth in 6th, Jeffrey Roulette 7th, Scott Rammler in 8th, Mike Grandy in 9th. So we haven't talked about Mike a lot tonight after starting real deep in the field, but he's been steadily climbing. And then Dan Brazington rounding out your top 10 currently, which I know is going to make the father-in-law happy.
There's Mike Grandy Sr. in that 5-hour Energy Dallara, this black, red, and yellow machine that goes by your screen now. As you're right, Kieran Brigelli and Timothy Bates both deciding not to take it pit side. And going back to that Homestead race, how about this for a top 5? Hollingsworth, as you would imagine, Dan Brazington finishing 2nd, Kevin O'Brien finishing 3rd, Jeffrey Bogan, who had a fantastic race all race long last week, 2 weeks ago, finishing 4th, and with the disqualification of Ravon, that would have promoted Timothy Bates up into the 5th position. And I don't think we've seen Timothy Bates in the top 5 since he won the season opener.
Yeah, he's not had the best of luck this season. Of course, neither is Brigelli. Both of them have just constantly been getting caught up in other people's dumpster fires, they both have been force-fed hot garbage all season. So to see them running up towards the front, awesome.
And speaking of Brigelli, I do not believe Brigelli ran last week. He did not. Which is unfortunate because in the previous series he had won the race at Homestead.
He was race control last week.
Yes, he was. Which, again, is still unfortunate because he had won the race at Homestead, which would have been a season opener in the previous series. As these guys line up on the outside line, looking to begin lap 75 here once we go green flag racing. Brigelli, Bates, and Rayvon, the top three, and this is the lowest that Rayvon has been all race long. I'm sure he's not going to want to sit there for long, as there goes Brigelli. And I believe Robert Dudley, yeah, he's still sitting there, third car in line. He's several laps down and actually holding up Rick Rayvon quite significantly going into turn one as the driver of the 49. As Rayvon now will finally get around him, Yari Brupatcher makes his way around him as well. Intrigued as to why Dudley would be allowed to start in the middle of the field like that.
Because that's the way it's set up. It's, that's where he was when Rayvon came out of the pits. They don't file lap cars to the back. I guess just so used to seeing that in all of the Oval Series that we broadcast. As you're seeing right now, a battle for the fifth position. This is Butch Davis, Scott Rammler, and Jeff Hollingsworth. Hollingsworth looking to recover from a poor pit stop as Rammler now. What happened? There was almost contact between Brigelli and Bates going through three.
Yeah, we're looking now back there. Now we'll go up to Brigelli and Bates, as Brigelli's still leading this race. As Bates, again, the winner at Auto Club, again, a track very similar to this, having another solid run. Granted, he gets up here because of pit strategy, but still a very good run for the driver of the six. Oh, there they go! That's exactly 1 and 2, and Brupatcher involved as well, and that's going to be the end of Brupatcher's night. Oh, they're still colliding. There goes Charles Woods. Oh, no.
And that's exactly what happened the previous lap that made me pucker.
Osmer involved. Fletcher. Boy, oh boy, there really were two wrecks. Jeffrey Bogan, we had just mentioned him. This was half the field. Yeah, and Tony, you're right. As you said, it's...
I'm just trying to figure out why the track turned and Karen Brigelli didn't.
Let's see, here they are racing side by side. This is the lap prior to the incident, and you can see how close Brigelli is on entry. Oh no, this is the incident. As there, boy, Brupatcher just barely collects it. Brigelli, and because his wheels are snapped off here, he has no brakes. Same thing with Bates. Going back again here, Bates has no brakes. And they just continue to slide down the track. There's the collision. There's Bates into the wall. Brupatcher just barely gets it. And Bates has nothing as far as brakes here. Woods is wrecked prior. Well, there was somebody else that got involved there. Seifert just narrowly avoiding it.
No, he didn't.
It looked as though he had. We'll take a look back here. Let's see. On board of Seifert. There you see the wreck happening well in front of him. There's Bogan in front. Now goes the outside, and nope, you're right. And you can see what we were talking about as far as wheels repairing themselves. Highlighted perfectly on that replay with Seifert. As again, that's half the field at least taken out in that wreck from the race lead.
Now, Samard was able to get by there cleanly.
I did see a yellow car lose a wheel.
That wasn't Samard. That was the other yellow car.
Okay.
Samard comes by well after Seifker, and Brawpatcher's already stopped, so Samard is able to actually find a gap to get through and snake his way through safely without hitting anyone or anything.
So we've seen the original incident. We're going to go now because there was a secondary incident that was triggered here that involved Charles Woods. Now Woods running through here, and he just hits the brakes on his own and dumps the car. And yep, there is Samard flashing through right there. And now there was also one that happened after this as Fletcher just barely misses it and then gets collected, and that's how Osmer gets involved in this, and that's how Bogan gets involved in this.
Well, with the Fletcher one,
that's the 32. I'm sorry to cut you off there. I believe that's the 32 of Tony Phillips. Is that other
that's
yellow,
the yellow car you saw.
Yeah.
That's the yellow car you saw get collected. He was along for the ride at that point because his front suspension is gone.
Yeah.
And just annihilates Fletcher because has no control of the car. And then Ronnie Osmer, absolutely nowhere to go, trying to make the evasive maneuvers and just see you by.
Once we get this race restarted here, because they're coming through turn 4 with the lights off on the safety car, we'll run through all the guys that got caught up in that as the pace car does duck off. As Rayvon will lead them down. He's got Scott Rammler behind him. Rammler does not get a good start at all as there goes Butch Davis to the outside. Davis will take the position. Butch Davis into second place, and I believe because of that, Rayvon will hold the lead going into turn 3.
That's a safe bet because of just how badly Davis was held up by Rammler. Is Hollingsworth now making his move, as is Mike Grandy. Something might be wrong with the
31 of Rammler.
Yeah,
he has not had a good start. He might have his in-car settings jacked around a little bit. It's not making him feel all that comfortable. Is now Jeffrey Roulette going to take the dive in the orange number 66.
He may have gone the wrong way on the weight jacker.
Yeah, that's a safe bet. Is now Dan Brazington. First time we've seen him all night long, with Nate Seifker battling Rammler. This boy Seifker just about getting caught up in that. Now, unofficial tally, Kieran Bergelli, Timothy Bates, Tony Phillips, William Fletcher, Yari Brawpatcher, Ronnie Osmer, Jeffrey Bogan, and Charles Woods all involved in that last accident. Yeah, that's what, 7-8 cars?
And something happened to Sam Cooper Bennett.
Yeah, Sam has been...
He's towing right now for some reason.
Yeah, Sam has spent some time on pit road here. He's 22 laps down right now. We're seeing an incident, I think.
Oh, caught the bump coming out of 2.
Again.
That's going to basically end his night.
And we'll get to that in a second here as Davis getting passed up for the race lead by Rick Rayvon. This happening under caution here. This is Yari Brawpatcher. Under caution, he's going to... he's pulling off to Let's for a... oh, no. Yari Brawpatcher's stopping. Coming out of turn 2. And this is what This is what happened with Bennett. And, just lost it. Arrow loose. And that's the second time he's hit that wall that hard, that way tonight. And, boy, it just becomes a long, long night after that.
And we've got a report coming in from the Infield Care Center with Timmy Bates, if you want to talk with him real quick.
Sure, let's bring Bates in. And Tim, that was close racing and just a hard lick by everybody involved.
Yeah, there was we were going back and forth, and me and him stayed out. I didn't know why he stayed out, and I talked to him about it afterwards. But it was just, the championship points, whatever. He wanted to leave, and I got it. We go in there, we're just racing hard. This is one of the few tracks that I'll race really hard at. I kind of got pushed back early on with getting caught up in some debris, but man, I'm looking forward to watching the end of this race, and I'm going to enjoy it.
How was the car feeling on track? It looks like you can put the car pretty much anywhere you want and feel comfortable, much like Auto Club. It's just the pack isn't as bunched up as it was there. What was the car feeling like out on track?
So, literally, it was like, for me personally, I mean, we've done a bunch of practice. You guys know that. We do a bunch of practice out here. And we've done that, and the car felt great. It's just, you get that one damage, and it doesn't take that fast repair. You go out there, and you're kind of slow behind it. Then you get your feeling back in, get back in there, you get back up there. You definitely have to play with it a little bit. There's different lines, different grooves. I honestly think this is one of our longer races, obviously. And I think it's going to come down to fuel mileage, and these guys are in lead right now. I mean, and I see Rick up there, and Rick's always going to lead from the front. He's got a new teammate this year and all that, or this week, but I just think that might play in a factor when it comes down to fuel mileage. Rick doesn't have the team as far as, Butch and then the other guys on my team, obviously, that can do some fuel mileage strategy. And I think it's going to come down to that.
Really quick before we let you go, we know that there's been of course, everyone's been talking recently about the new aero model that's been put in for these cars. Is it making it feel better or worse when you think back to how it felt at Auto Club with these two being very similar style tracks? Better or worse aero-wise than at Auto Club?
No, so I'm having trouble with my sound right now, but I think I know what you're saying. Is you're talking about Auto Club compared to this with the new update?
Yep.
It's much different. There's the aero is different. The tires are different. There's a lot of things different with it. It makes for a fun race. It's just and the big thing that affected me early on was the damage model, where like I got caught up in damaged debris. And it literally put me back where I went 2 laps down and I was fighting back to get back in the lead lap. That kind of stuff like that wasn't there early on in the season definitely makes a difference. It does more so in the back than it does in the front, but and hey, we've got temperatures that are changing, and these guys, man, what a battle up front right now.
Yeah.
These guys have been friends forever. I don't know if you know Rick and these boys. Oh man, it's gonna be fun.
Really quick, and then we'll let you go. More or less difficult just driving the car here compared to Auto Club?
Well, obviously I'm out of the race. Auto Club, I won, so I would say this is more difficult.
All right.
If you want my input.
All right, Timothy Bates, we'll let you go, bud. Enjoy the rest of the race.
All right, guys. Thanks, man.
So that was the voice of Timothy Bates, who was involved in that big wreck.
Was moved to your channel.
From that last caution, and I believe we have another special guest up here. Sam, how you doing, bud?
I'm still picking my teeth up off the track.
Yeah, that looked ugly, man. I don't know if you heard the judges' scores or not, but the Romanian judge, you obviously didn't buy him a beer last night.
I ran out of money. I already bought the Canadian judge. That was enough money as it was.
That would explain the 10.1 from the Canadian judge.
Yeah.
But your first time in one of these Indy cars in quite a while, what was the feeling like?
It felt fine until I decided to mess with the weight tracker, and then it all just went to hot. But the reason I spun out the first time, I was trying to make I made the rookie mistake of adjusting my force feedback through turns 1 and 2, and yeah, it kind of went bad from there.
Then you had a very similar looking wreck. So nice you decided to do it twice on that inside wall. What was it like getting back with the guys?
It was good. I was like being like like your first day back at school. It's
Yep.
like just seeing these guys again, and they're probably going, oh God, what's this guy doing back on the track again? Why are we letting him drive again? It's just ridiculous. Who makes the rules here?
Well, you made it through the first 2 dumpster fires.
Well, first 3 or 4, I think. So,
No, you were the 4th.
oh yeah. But yeah, I managed to pick my way through that big wreck on the initial start. That was a bit scary. Just I actually drove over some debris, and I thought I was going to get a puncture or something because I drove over a front wing, a rear wing, and a side panel somewhere.
And we had mentioned it at the beginning of the broadcast. You decided that retirement was a little too boring, so you may not be on the network as much as you were recently. But you will be back up in the booth, joining me and I'm sure Tony for some races starting in 2021.
Yeah, I'll be back. Obviously, we've got some new leagues coming up in 2021. Obviously, we made the announcement that we will be bringing majors to the channel in 2021. I'll be there with you for that one. I'm in a producing role for the E-Formula series, and I'll be returning with the iRacing East series, and I'll be there for those on Mondays and Fridays, so that should be good. And obviously this on January 2nd, I'll be doing a special race with USRA as well.
Yep, and because I can't work, because I have to work. That's
we're gonna get you dirty though, right?
Oh, wait.
Yeah, that series is coming.
Monday
Maybe.
series.
Series.
Well, if I'm doing iRacing East, then probably
Yeah, no,
not.
that would be a negative on that.
No, not that one. It's the one on Thursdays.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, because
Maybe.
now it's going to be me and Jonathan doing USRA on Thursday nights, so that might be it.
You and me playing in the dirt on Thursdays, Sam.
Just like
Why
old
does that,
times.
why does that scare me somewhat? Anyway, yeah, should be fine. Yeah, looking forward to be back in the booth. iRacing East pretty much demanded that I come back, so
They've had an influx of new people coming in as we're just about to hit the halfway point here at Michigan. Almost forgot we're calling a race. As Butch Davis currently leading, but as you can imagine, not for long, as there goes Rick Ravon up to the race lead. Nate Siefker has been battling up here now in the top 5. We saw him make a big move earlier on the outside lane to get him up into the 3rd position he currently occupies. Scott Rammler has made the necessary changes to his number 31 Dallara. We have a 4-car breakaway up at the front, which Nate Siefker now leads.
Massive championship implication.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. You got a 2 for going through turn 1. Didn't have the timing just right to make the pass stick at the stripe. Davis, though, with a run right now, coming off a 4. Again, doesn't have the timing just right. Possibly could have held it that last lap, but unfortunately, Siefker used Rick Ravon as a pick, and Davis had to back out of it, nowhere to go.
Working with 99 laps to go here at Michigan. And now Ravon looking to the inside of Butch Davis in the race lead. And we were talking about Brett Beasley so much, using that outside line and getting some play in that outside line. Nate Siefker now showing what that outside line can really do if you're able to keep it wound up as Davis goes to the race lead. And boy, just look at the run Siefker's able to build coming through turn 1. He's going to get a great shot down the back straightaway, and Scott Rammler doing a great job to hold on behind him.
And
One thing
I don't want to jinx it, but if you look at your stints right now, we're closing in on I don't want to jinx it, but we're closing in on green flag stops.
Yeah, and one thing I did find, like, being back in that car again here tonight, is the fact that that outside line does work. If you get a good enough run like Siefker just did right there, you will be paid in dividends, and it's definitely paid off for Siefker here tonight. There goes Butch Davis to the inside.
Yep, as Davis going to the race lead on Nate Seefer. You can see down there in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, we have done 32 laps now as they cross the line here on this set of tires. It really is not that far away from green flag pit stops. Working lap 96, working with 96 laps to go, lap 105 of this race. Rick Ravon back up to the lead as Ravon, Davis, Seifker, Rammler in that front group. Hollingsworth is on an island pretty much all by himself here, just barely hanging on to that back group as there goes Seifker. He's off into pit road.
Seifker going to be the first one to blink, give that lap to Ravon, put another one in his feather in his cap. Grandy going with Seifker on that one. So those are the first two of that lead group to bring it pit side. And you got to think that
that's Beasley. Beasley in the background. Oh, and a hard hit to that inside wall, and that is caution number 9.
He's got a broken nose.
Yep, he does.
Mom always said, don't play ball in the house.
That will have saved Seeker as well.
That was, Sam, that's exactly what you just did.
I was going to say it wasn't as spectacular as yours, but it's the same thing.
Only difference is that I completely ripped the nose off, whereas these was like hanging off, so, you know.
Yeah, but who knows how... he's towing it, so that's probably going to be the end of Beasley's night. But, it was that same thing. It's that bump on the exit of inside of the track, exit of 2, and there's the bump on the exit of 4 that has just been catching everybody out.
Yeah, and those are bumps you don't really feel in a heavy cup car, but in these light Indy cars, especially now with the fuel load that they have on these cars, you certainly feel it. And Sam, as you had mentioned, prior to the guys catching up to the field, that would bring a lot of luck to Nate Seifker. As you saw, he was able to pass the pace car. He'll stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, and he will get back to the front as well. As just before the caution came out, Rick Ravon actually was calling for his pits. So Seifker, if my calculations are correct, and they are, all coming into pit road, that's actually going to be Mike Grandy staying out to go to the front, and Nate Seifker promoted up to second place. Actually, no, Seifker up to the lead.
So Grandy was in the pits as well, so those guys both came in at the same time. There's the race off of pit road between the 5 of Rick Ravon and the 43 of Butch Davis. And once again, Tony, going back, I don't think I've seen Ravon lose a race off of pit road here tonight.
No, because Rick's one of those guys that he's driven Indy cars in simulators for so long. He knows how to hit his pit spot every single time. The one thing you're never going to see Rick Ravon do is slide through his pit stall. Not even under green flag stop. He's going to hit his marks. He's going to hit his marks every time. He drives these cars so often that it's almost second nature to him. He knows where every corner of that car is. So if something happens, he knows what. Probably one of the most seasoned IndyCar drivers in the sim right now.
Yes, Ravon currently holding on to the third position after that round of pit stops cycles through. It will be Nate Seifker and Mike Grandy who came in at the perfect time. As you see, two lap cars, including Raul Alvarez, going through on their wave arounds.
What about the new paint on Dan Brazenton's car? That's pretty special. I like that.
We haven't seen much of Brazenton, and yep, there he is, right there, Dan Brazenton in the 29.
And note from the father-in-law, hope you can figure this out. Just saying, get up front.
He's only just got his lap back, so yeah. Might take him a bit, but I'm pretty sure he'll be up there eventually.
But, talking about the folks in the chat, thank you, sir, for joining us again tonight. Ernie Ludwig, thanks for hanging in with us tonight. Wish you were back out on track, brother. Paul Crumright, again, sorry that you're not having the best of nights. Hopefully better luck next week at the Glen. If you are watching right now and you haven't already done so, don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, share, turn on bell notifications so you don't miss a single lap of action here on ESPN, because we've got a ton of new stuff coming your way in the new year.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a lull here over these last couple of weeks with the Christmas holiday and, of course, Thanksgiving being a month ago and New Year's right now. It'll really start to pick up around this time next week is when we are going to be back on a normal schedule. But right now, Nate Siefker, for the first time tonight, leads them down. We are back green flag racing here at Michigan on lap 110.
So Siefker getting a bonus point for leading a lap, guaranteeing that bonus point coming his way. But I got to say, he's probably a sitting duck as Mike Grandy with a head of steam as they get to the middle of the back straightaway. 9-mile-an-hour difference between Grandy and Siefker. Here comes Ravon as well, so Siefker about to lose 2.
And going back a little bit now through the field, we had mentioned, haven't really talked much about Chris Samard after his issue that he had. We'd spoken about him getting through the big wreck. He is now up to the 7th position, back on the lead lap. And we saw how prevalent and poignant he was up at the front of the field here earlier in the race. That 77 of Samard looking to try his best to regain some points that he had previously thought he lost.
Yeah, Samard, it's an uphill battle for Samard. It's an uphill battle for Davis. This is not what they needed to see, especially with Siefker running towards the front.
Running towards the front in the 4th position right now as Mike Grandy Sr. takes the race lead. Rick Ravon now on the inside lane. He will take the race lead. Butch Davis going a little bit lower than Ravon, but still will be able to clear Grandy for that 2nd position as Davis now going to the race lead into turn number 1. Still pretty much, other than Mike Grandy, guys we've seen up here in the top 5 all race long. Hollingsworth just on the outside of the top 5 looking in. We've seen the same culprits up here in the top 5 all race long, as there's Scott Rammler in the 4th position now, passing Nate Siefker.
Go ahead.
Roulette's back up there again. I've just noticed he's back up to P7 again, and he's battling pretty well after starting on the pole here tonight. And you know what? FBR are very strong here tonight. I mean, Butch Davis up there in 2nd, Roulette in P7. Michael Bourne obviously out of this race, and same for Brigelli. But when all 4 of them were together at the start of the race, they were looking very strong. There's contact between Hollingsworth and Roulette, and Hollingsworth hard into the wall.
Yep, Hollingsworth is going to lose the entire right side of that car, and if he can get it down, he'll be able to save a caution flag from coming out here. Hollingsworth trying to crab walk that car back into pit road. Unfortunately, he's in.
No, he's going back up.
Turn 4. He's got no steering on that car, and I think he's going to have to stop. It might be a caution.
No,
he's going to tow it. And we somehow are going to stay green, but here we are on board now with Butch Davis taking the lead away from Rick Ravon.
Wow.
We'll take a look at that here again in a second. We'll let these guys sort themselves out heading on to the back straightaway. Now that they do, we go back to see what happened with Hollingsworth. Because it was him and Roulette side by side going into 3. And not sure if that was arrow push off of the 66 or if he just, or if Hollingsworth came down. Either way,
pushed up.
Yeah, that's
I was just listening to the NSIM chatter. But, you know, it's one of those one of those moments that you look at and go, thank God this is a simulator, because 20 years ago, we'd be not talking kindly right now, and it would be a very sad moment. Let's just put it that way. There's
a little bit further behind there, right behind Roulette. There's Ronnie Osmer. Haven't seen much of him since earlier on in the race. We saw him take that spin into pit road, and he's pretty much been mired in the back since then and fallen a couple laps down because he had the pit road, the unsafe entry penalty. He is now back on the lead lap, up into the 7th position. Roulette now might be fighting with a little bit of damage on that number 66, has fallen down to 9th as William Fletcher goes around his outside, but still, it's been the same 1-2, and they keep swapping it. Butch Davis and Rick Rayvon, and right now I would say Rayvon's my favorite because Rayvon is in the lead in the right part of the track.
And don't look now, but let's talk about the elephant in the room, or the two elephants in the room. Nate Siefker and Chris Samard both at one point were 2 laps down.
And now battling for the 4th position here is Siefker in front in that black and pink number 10 Dallara, and really hard to miss Chris Samard in that yellow Pennzoil number 77.
That's why I call it the nuclear banana.
As those guys at the tail end of this pack here running in the top 5, Will Fletcher starting to really make his way up. He's gotten past Osmer, just got past Mike Grandy. So William Fletcher now fighting for a position just off the top 5. Great run for the driver of the 37.
Yeah, William Fletcher, the newest member of VSM as well, just moved over to that team. So really showing that he has the speed and has the potential to really put the numbers down for VSM right now.
I wonder why Sam jumped in so quickly on that one.
Yeah.
Care to explain?
Yeah, we've signed William Fletcher for 2021 for the rest of the season. Obviously, we lost Joe Morganti, so we needed a replacement. William Fletcher has the talent, has the speed, so we decided to sign him up.
There you go. As simple and basic as that as we work with 79 laps to go.
As Fletcher now has his teammate right there with him, with Ronnie Osmer able to get by Grandy. The only problem with those guys are going to face is they're about a second and a half back from this top 5.
1.6 seconds off the back end of that front group is Fletcher to Samard. Samard, the back end of this front grouping here is Davis. Now Davis in the lead in the proper part of the track, and Rayvon taking the lead going into turn 1. Surprised, not really too much movement going on between Siefker and Samard. This is damage limitation for Siefker right now, but Samard, knowing that he only has one more race after tonight, and Siefker has won all of the previous road course races this season, really needs to start getting a move on here if he wants to win this championship.
He's definitely running out of time. Davis is doing everything he can do right now, and unfortunately for him, the cautions fell right for both Siefker and Samard. So, your top 3 in points are running top 5 right now, and time is definitely running out.
1, 4, and 5 in the top 5 are the only 3 drivers that are eligible to still win this championship, as now Rayvon goes to the inside. And we had talked about it a lot during the race at Homestead Miami Speedway 2 weeks ago, but the schedule was not made up this way. This was supposed to be the season finale. This was where we were going to crown a champion, but because the 2021 Season 1 build for iRacing came out on the same day as the Watkins Glen race about 3 weeks ago at this stage, they had to postpone that race. So now Watkins Glen moved to the back end of the schedule. And so the last race of 2020 will not be this race. Well, it will be this race for 2020, but it will not be a championship crowning race.
Well, let's not
Could be.
count our chickens before they've hatched. It's not guaranteed to be. We know who the champion is
Fair.
after tonight. There's a good possibility that we could put money on who's going to be the champion by the end of the night. But again, Davis is doing everything he can do and everything he has to do. He's leading laps. Now, you've mentioned Auto Club and Michigan, the parallels. Take a look at the interval between Rayvon and Davis last time at the stripe, 0.000.
Yeah, there you go.
So, yeah, no, there's no similarities between Michigan and Auto Club. Baloney.
Going back through the field here, as you had mentioned, Stepdad, Fletcher has been able to actually pull in a gap on Nate Siefker at the back end of that group now. Fletcher, who was 1.6 seconds off of this lead group a couple of laps ago, is now at the tail end of this group. Meanwhile, Ronnie Osmer has not gained any ground. As a matter of fact, he is losing ground, has gotten passed now by Dan Brazington, who is just back on the lead lap. So Brazington now leading that second group, running in the 7th position, trying to work his way back up to the front to try to get this second group up battling for the lead.
Osmer brushed the wall in the middle of the back straightaway. So,
And that's worrying for Osmer. He's just burned his fast repair as well, so he needs to kind of be careful at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. As
we'll take a ride on Osmer's here to see. We're not going to be able to see it much right now, but going down the back here, we'll see if he has a toe issue on that number 55. Here riding on board with Osmer. He is ever so slightly right hand down, so he does have a little bit of a toe problem on that 55. And Sam, as you had said, that unfortunately, because he used his fast repair, is going to stick with the driver of the 55 the rest of the race.
Well, I did find. Sorry, Tony. I keep cutting you off. Sorry, dude. But one thing I did find while I was in the car, that the too much damage was done thing that they used to have on the IndyCar is now gone. They actually do give you the extended repair time. So your race isn't actually done if you use both of your fast repairs or your fast repair. You're just going to be in pit road for an extended amount of time, and your car's just going to be down on power.
Certainly helpful for the driver of the 55, who had a great start to the year, had a solid run at Auto Club, finished on the podium at Road America for race 2, and then from there it's just slowly spiraled out of control. Some of those mistakes his own, some of them being caught up in other people's misfortunes. But the driver of the 55, this is a season that Osmer would soon forget.
it's been that way for quite a few drivers this season. The other name that really pops out at me is Kieran Brighelli. Kieran came into this series, with a lot of high hopes. He had some shining moments, and then was force-fed hot garbage and gasoline.
Of drivers that have started this race that are no longer participating, Paul Crumry involved in 2 wrecks prior to the 3rd lap being turned. Johnny Antonucci, pretty much same story for him in the 13. Carl Burke, Michael Bourne, Kevin O'Brien, Sam Cooper-Bennett, Kieran Brighelli, Jeffrey Bogan, Timothy Bates, Yari Brubhatcher. Brett Beasley is done for the evening as well. He was having such a good run. Jeff Hollingsworth and Robert Dudley, those guys are all done for this race. So pretty much, 10, 11 names I just rattled off?
Yeah.
Out of this race. So this one, not as much as Homestead, but this race appearing to be a test of attrition as well.
Absolutely. As Raul Alvarez takes it pit side, he's going to relinquish the 13th spot. Or, sorry, he's going to hold on to the 13th spot, but going to relinquish the lead lap. But, we're closing in on green flag stops again.
Yep, last came in on lap 107. That was the caution flag on lap 107 for Brett Beasley. As Nate Siefker, we would expect Nate Siefker and Dan Brazington in a little bit earlier than everybody else, as well as Michael Grandy, Michael Grandy as well, not Roulette. Those guys had all come in on lap 105 and had completed their pit stops prior to the caution flag coming out. Everybody else was able to make yellow flag pit stops as, Dan Brazington in, Mike Grandy Sr. in as well. So I would have to assume we're not that far away from seeing Nate Siefker visit pit road.
Probably not, because he's been out there 31 laps, and Tony Phillips has been out there 30 laps. So the only good thing for Siefker right now is he's been able to run in the slipstream of everybody that's in front of him. I mean, it doesn't look like he is, but trust me, you're in the slipstream if you're that close. He's been able to conserve a little bit of fuel this time. He led a couple laps, got those out of the way, and then he's just dropped back and kind of held right around there. As I think Rayvon just called his pit.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
and so did Davis.
So Rick Rayvon there. Yep, there they both go into pit road. You're seeing what laps that these guys had previously come in. There are the two guys that have been battling for the race lead all race long, as now that will send Chris Samard up to the race lead in the number 77. Scott Rammler behind him, Nate Siefker, Will Fletcher, the four guys up here in this top group that have decided to stay out. Samard taking a little bit of a lower line, looks as though he is going to be coming in this time.
Yep,
slows it right down. He will. Rammler is the only one of that top five that will not pit this time.
Siefker with a little bit of a pucker moment coming to the cones, just barely able to get it slowed down in time, is the driver of the 10.
You're seeing the sister car to Rick Rayvon leading the race as Rayvon gets back on track right behind Scott Rammler. As Rammler, I'm sure, will be coming in here this time, or I may not be as sure as I thought. So Scott Rammler deciding to stay out right now. He is, as there's Samard. If a caution were to come out right now, Rambler's the only car on the lead lap at the moment.
He is, as Samard gets out in front of Rayvon.
It's not going to last all that long as Samard still getting up to speed as Rammler will stay out yet again. And God forbid a caution does come out right now. There's also that battle for the lucky dog spot, which is what this is here between Samard and Rayvon. And it really could just depend on which end of the track they're at as to who gets it.
Absolutely. As Rayvon with a run down the back straightaway, about a 8-mile-an-hour difference between him and Samard going into 3. As Rammler goes pit side this time.
So this right here, what you're seeing is a battle for the effective race lead here between Chris Samard and Rick Rayvon. As guys slowly getting their laps back as they pass Scott Rammler. Rammler should come out right in the area of this this group of 4 here. Butch Davis lost quite a bit coming through that set of pit stops, but not as much as William Fletcher. He had a really slow pit entry, ended up 3.5 seconds behind Butch Davis. For a guy who was just caught up to the back end of that group, Fletcher has now found himself on an island.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what happened because I'm looking and his times don't look that weird. I'm thinking just his race to the cones and race from the cones. It wasn't as aggressive as everybody else. As Rammler right now battling for third with Nate Siefker, as give that lap to Samard.
Yeah, we had seen the gap between Siefker and Fletcher on track. They were nose to tail, but there was a good 8 or 9 car lengths between the two while they were slowing down going into pit road through 3 and 4. So Fletcher certainly not as aggressive on pit entry as everybody else was. You can tell that is really, really put him behind, as Rick Ravon and Chris Samard battling for the race lead, and something we have not seen tonight. Well, one, a full set of green flag pit stops we haven't seen, which means we haven't seen the gap that's been able to build between drivers and in packs during the green flag pit cycle. We're seeing it now, about a second between the top two and third and fourth.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know that's a huge gap. They're just outside from Siefker to Ravon. Siefker is just outside of being able to use Ravon as a draft. However, Rammler is right there with Siefker. So you know the fact that Ravon and Samard are picking him up and laying him down. They're trying to get by Robert Dudley right now as he's doing the right thing and just kind of staying to the high side to let these guys kind of go. Ravon able to clear him cleanly through 3 and 4. Samard looks like he was held up just a little bit. Going to have a real good tow coming down the back straightaway, though.
As Samard jumps in to that second position, now slotted right behind Rick Ravon instead of a lap car between them. Now he's going to get that great tow down the back straightaway as we've seen all race long. But look who now has up and past Nate Siefker and has left him for chips. That is Scott Rammler into the third position. Remember, Rammler is in the best position of all of these guys as far as pitting. Ravon, 138. Samard, 139. Siefker, 139. Davis, 138. Fletcher, 139. Rammler, 142 on pit stops, as now they still see the battle for the lead. But we were talking to Timothy Bates earlier, said this might be a fuel mileage race. Rammler might have just put himself in the best seat possible.
He has, but we haven't
Davis!
seen... We have
Puts
not
Davis
seen the
hard
money
into
stop
the
yet.
wall.
Oh, wow.
That's not good.
It kept it down.
Oh, not much longer. As Davis
There it
stopped,
is.
and there's the caution.
Brushed, he got up into the marbles, brushed the safer barrier, and then he was just skating.
Yep, we'll take a look at it here momentarily. We'll go now to Butch. Here he comes down the back straightaway, so we'll see what really transpired through all of this. He's running down towards the bottom, kind of by himself. Up off of turn 4. Oh, this might have been a lap prior. Yep, it was a lap prior. Let's try this whole transfaction over again, and there he is. He's already gone. And Davis, that was all by himself. So unfortunately, Butch now has put himself behind the 8 ball.
He has. Now the big question is, and I'm going to put you on the spot, Sam. You know, most of these guys have 10, 11 laps on their tires. Do you come in now, fuel up, or you know, get new tires, fuel it up, and then just do a splash and go at the end? Or, you know, do you stay out right now and just run this tank till it's bingo and then pit?
You got to think back to Homestead when they made the early splash and go and tried to run it to the end. We've seen this many times in definitely a lot of different series. I mean, I can recall calling, I think it was USRA last time round, where it became a fuel mileage race, and they decided to.
Oh, Rayvon just blew the stall.
Oh yeah, he did, and he's sideways as well, and Roulette blew the stall as well.
Wow.
But yeah, going back to what I said, and oh, wow, Rayvon's lost out big time there. But going back to what I said, we've seen this in so many different series before, where the question comes into play: do you go out and go out and
It's been a while since you've done this.
I know, right? Do you take the splash and go first and take tires later, or do you take the tires first and splash and go later? Now, I've seen people take the splash and go first and try and run it to the end. Now, that could work in your advantage. It might gain you a bit of time in that first pit stop, but then some people might think, yeah, the tires could give me that advantage as well, and I could get the splash and go later. It's all down to personal preference and how the team strategies work at the end of the day, and we're going to see how things work out at this point, as we are literally 50 laps to go now.
Well, from the looks of the in-box times, everybody took 4 in fuel.
And with that 50 laps to go, Rammler was able to go 35 laps on his set of tires and fuel. Now, how much he was saving, we're not quite sure, but that would mean, well, one more stop for everyone here, and that really does take the fuel mileage question out of this race, because you can go 35 laps, that means pitting with around 15 laps to go at the absolute latest. That removes the fuel mileage question at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that everybody's going to have to go one more time down pit road. So, and we know Rammler has been the best so far on being able to conserve fuel and stay towards the front. The question is, has anybody picked up on what he's been able to do? Because I know right now, Chris Samard, knowing where Nate Siefker is, Chris Samard is trying to, clinch at least, hopefully clinch most laps led. The battle was really between him and Davis, between who was able to do that with Rick Rayvon. I'm not sure who's going to get that bonus point. Right now, it looks like Rick Rayvon, so that one's off the table. If you're Chris Samard, right now, you've got to win this race, and you've got to hope Nate Siefker has trouble. If you're Butch Davis, you've got to hope that both Chris Samard and Nate Siefker have trouble here coming towards the end as pace cars are getting ready to duck on off. Rammler going to have the button as the field comes out of turn number 4. He pulls the trigger, and we are back underway. And again, we've seen it time and time again. You get that kind of jump here at Michigan, you're a sitting duck by the time you get to the middle of the back straightaway. As Siefker, with a great restart, he pulls to the outside of Samard, going through 1 and 2.
Yep, Siefker does look to that outside, is not able to get the run that he needs on Chris Samard. But look back in the field here. Rick Rayvon down in the 6th position. This is the lowest he has been all race long. Previous to this, he has not been lower than 3rd. And now up to the 5th position from his 6th place restarting spot. He is now looking to get back up towards that front. Fortunately for him, he does have time and possibly a caution coming out as these guys are 3 abreast for the race lead.
Yeah, Rammler just full send it mode going through 1 and 2. Nate Siefker saw it was coming, probably heard the phrase 3 wide or 3 wide inside, and heard that and kind of rolled out of it a little bit. Samard, though, kept his foot right into it, probably pushing it right through the floorboard of his sim rig. And, Samard has got the timing down as far as when he needs to make that run.
Yeah, and you can see that Samard is literally determined to keep that champagne on ice for at least one more week anyway.
Yep, he would right now push the championship battle to Watkins Glen if the results were to stay this way. as Samard now in the lead out of turn 4. This is the sister car from what we have normally seen. It's usually been Rayvon in that blue and white machine up at the front. It is now his teammate Scott Rammler who is battling up at the front. You can see Rayvon in the back of your picture there running in the 5th position. That is behind Will Fletcher. We had talked about Fletcher having a bad pit entry last time around during the green flag pit cycle, and Fletcher falling back about 3.5 seconds. This caution has gotten him right back up into the gap, or right back up into the pack.
Absolutely, but I can guarantee you right now, if you're Chris Samard and you're Butch Davis, you're kind of sitting there going, where's the girlfriend with the Gatorade when we need her? And for those of you who've watched IndyCar racing here on ESPN long enough, you know what I'm talking about.
I'm sure when he watches this back, he'll get a giggle from that, as well as Samard and Rammler swap the lead one more time. As there is Siefker right now with 50 to go. Well, with less than 50 to go, about 40 laps to go. He would fall, if something were to happen to Nate Siefker, he would fall as low as, I believe, 14th.
Do you see tire damage on Siefker's car?
I don't, but we'll ride on board now with Nate Siefker. Wheel looks straight on that number 10, and I'm not seeing anything.
That was a glitch on my end, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not seeing anything off the rear, quote-unquote, fenders.
No, it looked like his right front wheel was not connected.
Well, there you go. That's the way to put it. As Rammler really pushes up the track in turns 1 and 2. Chris Samard now with a little bit over 1/10 of a second lead, but Rammler's going to get it right back. As Rammler to the point. Rayvon now starting to battle with the 37 of William Fletcher for the 4th position. Getting closer and closer is Rayvon. I wouldn't be surprised if he's having a little bit of trouble trying to figure out what that car is going to do, running in a massive amount of traffic as compared to having one car in front of him as he's had the whole race.
Yeah, he hasn't had traffic like this since the drop of the green. So, for Rayvon to start to pick his way through, it's not surprising that he's able to get it figured out as quickly as he has.
He's going to now move to the inside of Fletcher. As, again, Rayvon looking for that 4th position. He had made this move last lap, was unable to complete it. He will complete it, however, this time, as now he will go and start to battle the championship leader, Nate Siefker. But before that, he really has to put Fletcher to bed. Unfortunately, he hasn't done that quite yet, but now coming off of 3, it looks as though now Fletcher is pretty well in the 5th position.
He is. He's still within drafting range, but he's got I don't think he's got that car trimmed out as much as Rayvon does. Rayvon's able to put that car in positions that Fletcher doesn't seem to be able to. And because of that, Rayvon's able to close in on Siefker. He's already picked off a full 10th just in that last lap.
Looking through what we've seen all race long is a lot of battling between 1 and 2, the swapping of positions at either end of the racetrack from 1 and 2. However, and Sam, you could probably speak to this since you actually drove the thing, not a lot of battling in the mid-pack. You're seeing a lot of guys running single file, trying to get up towards that front, but 1 and 2 seem to be able to make these moves, as we're seeing between Rammler and Samard at both ends of the racetrack as Rayvon goes up into 3rd.
Yeah, and that's just the way the track is, the undulation of the corners, the way they flow as the car goes round him. It makes it very difficult to stay or try and get around the car in front of you, as Rayvon did just prove us wrong right there. But you need to time your runs around it, because the aero pusher is very, very difficult when you're making it through the corners. It will literally suck you up into the corners if you get it all wrong. And that's an example there with Chris Samard. Timing is run absolutely perfectly, picking the right time to get around Scott Rammler, and that is how you get the move done. Just pick your times, get around, get the right space that you need to get underneath the car so it doesn't push you up into the wall, and just get around nicely.
We're in for a photo finish here tonight. I can feel it after how close that was between Rammler and Samard. We are in for a photo finish at some juncture here tonight as Samard takes the lead here, working with 35 laps to go when we hit the start-finish line. Siefker trying to find a way around Rick Ravon, but Ravon slowly making his way up through this field after blowing through his pit stall under the most recent caution. So Ravon, again, working through the most amount of traffic he's had to work through all race long. Now that he's getting up towards the front, his car is really starting to come alive. He's on that inside line. He's got Samard looking for his teammate Rammler coming out of turn 4. Side by side, Rammler on the outside, Ravon on the inside. That was Rammler at the line, but boy, Ravon not letting him get away. And Ravon and Rammler will go into 1 and 2 side by side. And wouldn't you know who won the pony? Ravon back to the lead. It's Samard with a big move and a hard hit on the inside wall. Caution is out.
That's a tough one. Samard is going to be annoyed with that one, and that is, unfortunately for Samard, going to hand Nate Siefker the championship.
It very well could. It was 38 points. Back to Butch Davis. Davis currently sitting in the 7th position. Now, again, there are bonus points and there are penalty points that need to be tallied up, and we'll look at the Samard incident in a second. But Davis might be able to keep it alive here if they finish where they are right now.
I mean, Butch Davis is going to have to finish at least 8 points ahead. Well, 3 is, yeah. You get 35 points for a race win. That is not including bonuses and penalties. And Siefker hasn't really led that many laps. Obviously, he's got the bonus point for leading the lap, but he's not exactly had the cleanest race either. So, Butch Davis, he needs to be out in front and be out in front handsomely of Siefker. But the way Siefker's been driving tonight, it's looking pretty impossible at this point.
Yeah, as everyone comes down into pit road, and this brings the pit cycle and the fuel strategy back into this race. If we were to go green, we're going to go green with roughly 30 laps to go, a little less than 30 to go. And we've seen you can only make it about 30, 31, 32 laps on a tank of fuel. So it is going to be really close on fuel as Ravon once again wins the race off of pit road.
And what?
Go ahead, Sam.
While we've got a couple of minutes of silence, I can announce that we, in the last 5 minutes, because I'm such a busy person, even when I'm not racing, we've just announced we just released a brand new line on Teespring, sorry. And you can get them right now. They've just launched on Teespring. It says on the front, 2021 is going to be my year, or if you're buying a onesie for your baby, 2021 is going to be Daddy's year. So there you go.
There you go. So having fun with this year that was going by the wayside and looking forward to the year that is going to be in 2021 coming up at the end of tomorrow.
Yep.
As while we do again, and we're going to take this second here to mention our sponsors here. Diecastnuts.com is a community site for people who love diecast, whether you want to post your collection, view other members' collection, or buy or trade to add to your collection. Diecast Nuts is the #1 place to go. Other automotive memorabilia is available as well at diecastnuts.com. That is nuts with a Z, diecastnuts.com, or find them on Facebook by searching Diecast Nuts. Also, the sponsor for the Sim Racer's Edge Alpha Series, Turn Racing. Turn Racing is merging the gap between sim sports and motorsports. Turn Racing provides top flight sim racing equipment to help advance your sim racing experience. Turn Racing also offers a full racer's guide to help you better your skills and put you a step above the rest. Head on over to turnracing.com to take your sim racing equipment and ability to a professional level at an affordable price. So again, that's diecastnuts.com and turnracing.com as well.
As the lights are out on the Ford Mustang GT500 pace car, I believe.
Yes, they are.
Rayvon going to have the button this time. He's got his teammate right behind him. Nate Siefker sits in third. Jeffrey Roulette up to fourth. Mike Grandy in fifth. Butch Davis running in sixth. Davis not mathematically out of it yet, but he's got to hope for Siefker to have trouble here on the restart. His pace car is in. Rayvon has the button, pulls the trigger. His teammate goes with him, and we are back underway.
Working now 30 laps to go here at the Midwest Mayhem 400 at Michigan. And it has been a long 170 laps, 11 cautions here tonight as Rick Rayvon currently sitting in the position he has occupied so much of this evening here in the race lead. Scott Rammler right there with him, his teammate Nate Siefker battling in the top three as well. And as you had mentioned, we talked about it during this caution flag, Butch Davis battling now for the fifth and fourth positions with Jeffrey Roulette in the orange number 66, Mike Grandy in the red, black, and yellow 5-hour energy number 52. Davis really needs those positions if he wants to take this championship fight to Watkins Glen next week.
And that was a pucker moment for Davis as Grandy and Roulette almost got into it coming off of two. Everybody got it sorted back out, though, and we stay green. But definitely not what we're hoping to see. As Grandy throws it to the inside of Siefker, almost three wide. Good grief, boys.
As Grandy going up into the second position as he now passes. Boy, and that's Butch Davis and Nate Siefker both involved in that three wide. Grandy still on the inside of Scott Rammler, and Butch Davis doing exactly what he needs to do if he wants to keep us from crowning a champion here tonight. Davis up into the fourth position ahead of Nate Siefker. That's all he needs to do is finish within sight of Nate Siefker, and he will have a chance, albeit an outside chance, at winning making the championship battle at Watkins Glen. But Mike Grandy currently leading this race as, boy, you saw at the very top of your screen, Robert Dudley having an issue coming out of turn two.
Yeah, I wonder if Butch Davis has realised that the championship is literally in his hands now and has decided to put his foot to the floor.
I have a feeling he does know that, with Samard being out of this race. Samard currently being scored in the 12th position out of this race. So Robert Dudley still some 7-8 laps off of Chris Samard, so he will be able to pick up that position at least. As we're seeing Butch Davis now battling for the second position, that is against Rick Rayvon. Those two have been battling all night long. And now Mike Grandy starting to pull out a little bit of a gap here. It's starting to close in now with Davis getting the draft. And now Davis will take it to the inside going into turn one. Butch Davis back to the point. Nate Siefker in fifth. This is making his job a little bit easier for Watkins Glen next week.
And, you know, the thing is, we've seen it all race long, the guys swapping the race lead at different ends of the track. The only one we've seen actually go defensive going into turn three is Butch Davis. He was doing it earlier in the race, kind of protecting that inside lane, going through the 3-4 complex and telling anybody that wanted to go by him, especially Rick Ravon, that if he wanted to do it, he's going to have to do it the hard way. And we haven't seen it later in the race yet, but with the laps starting to close down like they are, as we are within 25 to go, 23 to go actually, this time across the stripe, expect to see Davis do that more often because it worked for him earlier. Let's see if it works for him towards the end of the race here.
We did see it a little bit earlier out of Jari Brupatcher before his unfortunate departure from this race here earlier on, as now we're starting to see two distinct packs, starting to form up. The top four of Grandy, Davis, Ravon, and Rammler starting to break up. Jeffrey Roulette leading that second group now, for quote-unquote second group, as Osmer really starting to make his way back up in the number 55, as Siefker has fallen from, I believe it was third place on this restart, down to seventh.
Yeah, he's absolutely hemorrhaging spots right now. I'm wondering if he's got a bit of a problem there with his setup at the moment, because he's just not going forwards at all. He's actually going backwards. He's gone past Ronnie Osmer again after Ronnie Osmer got a bit of a aero push there, but Siefker really hemorrhaging places after that restart.
He's going to get another one back after the bad turn 1 and 2 from the 66 of Jeffrey Roulette. So Siefker now starting to work his way back up towards the front. He has Rammler and Ravon right in front of him. Mike Grandy and Butch Davis continuing to swap positions for the race lead, as Osmer and Siefker battling for the fifth position. Will Fletcher there as well. Davis takes the lead, as we'll have 20 laps to go. Coming to the line here as Boyd Davis pushes up, and we've seen a lot of close action up against that turn 4 wall. It's a wonder that more people have not hit it.
Well, there's a nasty transition coming off of 4. It's more pronounced down low, and it can really upset any car. More pronounced, though, with these heavily sprung Indy cars. That's where we saw Osmer, biff it there. We've seen a couple other drivers, biff it going real low coming off of 4. So the bump is still there coming off of 4 on the high side, but it's not as pronounced. But it's very easy to eat safer barrier.
Ravon now coming under attack from his teammate in the 31, Scott Rammler, now taking the third position. Nate Siefker. Oh, there goes Rammler! And Ravon out of it as well. Caution is going to come out with 18 laps to go when they hit the line, as the two team cars take each other out. And Sam, you know it as well as anybody else from your time watching open wheel racing. The last thing you do is take your teammate out.
Oh wow! My TeamSpeak died just at the wrong time then.
I was saying that you know it just as well from watching Formula One, especially. The last thing you do is take your teammate out, and unfortunately, that's what happened right there.
It started with Ravon. He ran up wide. He hit the wall and it just snapped him left and right into the side of Rammler. That
wasn't Ravon. That was Rammler.
Oh, it was Rammler.
Yeah, Rammler's on the outside. There's a good lane. Yeah. There's a good lane between the two of them.
Oh,
and that was just a couple of hard hits.
If you want a pucker moment, go to the GoPro I put on Nate Siefker's helmet and watch what he saw.
Oh, that was.
We're going to go to it now as we're riding on board with Nate Siefker. As you can see, Rammler getting ever closer to that wall, and yikes. Boy, he just, I mean, that could have been the championship right there.
Yeah, it could have been. I mean, that's definitely, new fire suit material. As Grandy and Siefker stay out, Dan Brazington stays out. Everybody else brings it pit side.
Yep, and these guys now are good to go. Now there is we had this come up, I believe. Oh boy, where was it? Oh, it was the Indianapolis 500. I believe we had it come up one more time. There are no green-white checkers here in this series, so we are running 200 laps and 200 laps only. These guys are more than good to go now. Butch Davis on back. However, Grandy, Siefker, and Brazington can use this time, especially to save fuel, but they might still be close at the 200 mark.
Yeah, it's going to be do or die for these last 15 laps, I should say, when we go back to green. I mean, Davis is going to be doing everything he can to try and get back in front of Siefker, but it's not going to be easy. You know how Siefker gets during these late stages of the races. Either he's going to bring the win or bring in the steering wheel.
And with that, we will take a quick break here just to reset ourselves and to prepare for what is going to be a wild final 15 laps, especially with some guys where they are in the field. This could be a wild finish. Stay with us. We'll be back here in just a moment. We told you it'd be a quick break. Lights are out on the safety car as we get set to go for what is going to be a 15-lap run to the finish. Mike Grandy in the lead, and we are back racing here at Michigan. And you can see on that inside one of the two cars that were involved in that wreck coming back onto the racetrack. I believe that was Rayvon, and there goes Butch Davis around. And Rayvon in the wall trying to avoid it. Caution is out.
There's the championship.
Yep, there it goes. As Davis had his rear instant repair, has had his right front instant repaired. Rick Rayvon has had the same. And boy, that didn't take long now, did it?
Not really. It was one of those deals where he got it sideways, and Fletcher kind of finished him off, and then Rayvon just center punched his fuel tank.
We're going to go back here from the start of this. That was Rick Rayvon, by the way, clearly, who had come off of pit road. We're watching Butch Davis now. That's William Fletcher behind him. There's Rayvon coming off of pit road. And Davis just loses the back end. And you're right, Tony, just finished him off. And you can see Rayvon come out, swing, and hit the outside wall, just trying to avoid. But fortunately for both of them, that little bit of a glitch has saved them.
I don't know how much it actually did save him, because Rayvon had a lot of damage.
Yeah, he is in. That right front was snapped off
It was both of them were. He snapped the left front off when he hit Davis, snapped the right front off when he hit the wall. Davis is in his stall too. I'm going to keep an eye on him, see how long he's going to be in his stall here.
Times.
Yeah, Davis has damage.
Yeah, and so does Ravon. They're both double time from what a normal pit stop would be. So while it may be a visible glitch, it does have some effect, as there goes Davis
24
now.
seconds for Davis, so that wasn't too bad.
Yeah, and Ravon was 27.6, so 3 seconds exactly between the two. And now Butch Davis is really going to need to hustle it here. We're going to go green with, I want to say, either 11 or 10 to go. And this man, Nate Siefker, right now is in the catbird seat with Butch Davis down in 9th. I mean, quick math says this championship might be over if there's a performance deficit on that number 43 right now.
Safe bet that there's going to be, solely because of what just took place and the number of times that car got hit. I don't expect Davis's car to be at full song. I don't think Ravon's car is going to be at full song. So we might have just watched the championship drop into Nate Siefker's lap.
And this is Scott Rammler coming out of pit road, trying to catch up to the back of the field. Now, if the championship is wound up here, we will talk about it next week. We will talk to the champion next week at Watkins Glen.
The way it sits right now, we're probably going to be talking to him tonight.
Yeah, no, I think either way we're gonna wait on that just in case we are wrong, because we were wrong.
No, I'm looking at the points. I'm the points master. Obviously, I do the points every week, and he will be champion after this.
So there you go. So we might be talking to our champion here tonight.
Well, with him being on the podium, we're gonna kind of not.
Yeah,
have
we're gonna
a
be
choice.
talking to him anyway. It just depends on which order, barring an accident here. Just depends on which order we talk to him in. Champion will take precedent over race winner as per usual. But for this, what we hope is the final restart. Mike Grandy currently leading. Nate Siefker, Dan Brazington, who's on pace for his second consecutive podium. Running in third, Will Fletcher, Jeffrey Roulette, Ronnie Osmer, Charles Woods, Tony Phillips, Butch Davis, Scott Rammler, and Rick Ravon. Those are the guys that are currently still running on track right now. Robert Dudley is running as well, as a great restart from Mike Grandy gets him out well in front. But we're going to be looking mostly towards the back with the 43 to see if Davis does have a performance deficit in that Dallara.
From the looks of it, he does. He's down about 5 miles an hour already.
Oh, that's...
Oh, boy.
There's another I think that was Rammler in the
Yep,
wall.
it was
big. He's on his side. He's on his roll hoop.
Yep, and there's the caution again, as that was Robert Dudley in there as well. And we'll get to this one quickly here. As, oh boy, Dudley got loose. Coming off a 2, backed it into the wall, and Rammler, I would have to assume, trying to avoid. Rammler yanked the wheel, and the back end came around and on board, and yep, there's that black screen of a car on top on his lid that we all know and love.
Yeah,
that was a hard one, and we've seen that a lot tonight.
Yeah, that transition off a 2 is rough, especially with the new tire and aero model in this car. The Indy cars generate so much underbody downforce, ground effects, if you will, that it's very easy to upset the aero balance of these cars to the point where you're along for the ride most of the time.
And you're right. Of the 26 cars we had start this race, we have 10 still standing. Mike Grandy, Nate Siefker, Dan Brazington, Will Fletcher, Ronnie Osmer, Jeffrey Roulette, Charles Woods, Tony Phillips, Butch Davis. Those are 9 of the 10 cars, and they're on the lead lap. Rick Ravon is the 10th, and he is multiple laps down, as he will get one of them back, as there's the lucky dog going by. So the top 9 are in it to win it. Ravon, unfortunately, has had the dominant car all night long, just caught up in a wreck at the worst possible time, and he's unable to get that car back on the lead lap and in contention.
Well, we saw 12 cars get involved in one of the wrecks, which put a lot of these guys on the back foot, and that wasn't even 50 laps in. So the fact that a lot of these guys have been able to keep their cars as clean as they have, is we're within 10 to go right now. But I want to talk real quick about Mike Grandy. We've seen him run open wheel on ESPN before. This is only his second race with the Sim Racers Edge Alpha Series. And to have him leading this thing after starting 25th out of a 26-car field, that's something amazing.
Yeah, Grandy was one of the drivers that did not take time in qualifying, and he has been a force up here at the front since we saw him move up to the front about midway through the race, as we're going to get the restart here with 7 laps to go is when we go green. But Grandy has had a fantastic night. Siefker starting in 11th position. He's up to second. Dan Brazington started in the midfield as well. He's up in third right now. So these guys up at the front here have had a major, they have passed the test of attrition. And in Siefker's case, he wasn't able to 2 weeks ago at Homestead. He has certainly passed it here, and it might win him a championship.
Absolutely. 2 laps down at one point after getting popped for speeding off of pit road. Ronnie Osmer getting popped for an unsafe pit entry. Started 20th, currently sits in 5th. So, this is the race that Osmer needed. This is the race that Grandy needed. This is the kind of race that Dan Brazington has been able to put up in the past, but he's been caught up in other people's messes. So it's good to see these guys having the results that we know that they can have.
This will be Fletcher's first top 5 as well all season. So
yes, it will. Yes, it will.
So as we get set to go here, 7 laps to go when we hit the line for what we hope is the final restart. The 10 cars you see on screen are the 10 cars left in this race. There goes Mike Grandy. We are off and racing here at Michigan. Once again, 7 to go. I'm going to pose this question to you, Tony. Nate knows he's got a championship right now. Does he really push it for the win?
At this very second, no. But with 3 to go, and if he's got the shot going into 3, or with 1 to go, if he's got the shot going into 3, yeah, I'm taking it.
Yeah, you might as well. As Grandy leads this first lap back under green flag conditions.
Watch Fletcher.
As Will Fletcher there in the 3rd position. Brazington falling back into 4th. A little bit of a connection issue for Siefker there. That broken right front, that was lag, so don't worry about that. He's fine. As looking back through the field here, as there goes Siefker for the race lead on Mike Grandy. Grandy able to hold it on that outside line. Brazington on the inside. You see Grandy defending with 5 laps to go. Look a little bit further in the back. There's Butch Davis just now passing Tony Phillips for the 8th position. That might not be enough to extend this championship fight to Watkins Glen.
No, absolutely not, especially considering that Davis, Phillips is running a little bit of damage. Davis, we know, has got a little bit of damage. And I don't think Seifker's got the tires to make that move stick to the inside right now. He's going to have to do it the hard way. He's going to have to pinch Grandy down going into one. Gives him plenty of room, though. So, gentlemanly racing coming from your points leader right now is he's got a gaggle of angry wolves behind him.
The three guys on your screen right now, the top three, Grandy, Seifker, and Brazington, all came in last on lap 168. Everybody from Fletcher on back has come in on lap 183 or later. So these guys on the oldest tires and the least amount of fuel still holding service up at the front of this field. 3 laps to go. Seifker and Grandy come to nearly a photo finish at the line. Dan Brazington's still there. He's looking for his second consecutive podium.
Absolutely. And, we've seen Brazington have the speed all season long. He hasn't had the finishes to prove it. Right now, though, right there with Seifker on the high side, I believe they're teammates too.
Yeah, Butch Davis just barely hanging on to the back end of his group as we have 2 laps to go. Seifker trying to get around the outside of Mike Grandy. Grandy now having to block the outside lane from Dan Brazington. I'm sorry, that was Seifker on the outside lane trying to fend off Dan Brazington in that black and silver Dallara as they head off into turn 3. Grandy still just barely holding on.
And the fact that Seifker's got to run that higher line and not get the pull off of Grandy, it was a let Fletcher get up there. So Seifker's got to be worried right now as white flag is out one more time around. Seifker on the high side, Grandy on the inside, and here comes Fletcher and Brazington.
Yep, those guys are going to be in a battle for the third position. I was right the first time. As Seifker goes to the outside lane, he's got the momentum around Mike Grandy, but Grandy has the preferred line coming through turns 3 and 4. Grandy to the inside line. Grandy side by side with Seifker. Grandy.
Oh my God.
Don't tell me we did it again, because
Seifker
did blink a little bit.
We did it again.
0.000.
Wow. My goodness gracious. Oh, that made it worse because Seifker had blinked. But Mike Grandy will come away with the win of this race.
Oh, what a finish.
It's similar track to Auto Club, same finish.
Oh my God.
As Mike Grandy wins his first race, and as Tony mentioned, only his second start here with Sim Racer's Edge. But the man of the hour right now is this man, Nate Seifker, who with Butch Davis finishing in the 8th position might have just won the Sim Racer's Edge Alpha Series Season 1 championship.
Yeah, just give me 2 seconds. I'll get that updated and I'll let you know.
So it's nice having the people that make the standings sitting with you here.
Yeah, I know, right?
As that's what we've got. We don't have to sit and wait and try to stall the way we had to for
some other series.
Yeah, for IES.
So you get your interviews started.
That our interviews depend on those results, because if Seifker is the champion, Seifker is going to be Seifker's the first interview.
Just bear with me. No pressure.
We are going to try to get Grandy in. We'll flash up the official results here.
Don't mind me. I'm just doing a screen cap for the website.
Yeah, we'll show you the results here for the race right now. So at least we get that out of the way. Mike Grandy Sr., and you see it there, .000. over Nate Siefker. Second time we have had a dead heat finish this season. Will Fletcher does edge out Dan Brazington to finish third. Dan Brazington in fourth. Jeffrey Roulette fifth. Ronnie Osmer sixth. Charles Woods seventh. Butch Davis finishing in eighth. Tony Phillips ninth. Rick Rayvon will actually hold on to his 10th place finish this week. Scott Rammler finishing 11th. Robert Dudley 12th. Samard, Alvarez, Hollingsworth, Beasley, Brudpatcher, Bogan, Brigelli, Bates, Sam, O'Brien, Bourne, Burke, Antonucci, and Crumry. Those are your finishing results here for tonight's race, as we await word on the championship, because again, that will determine in which order we do these interviews in.
Well, let's do this.
We have a feeling it's going to be Nate Siefker.
Right. But Mike's not even in here.
So that's
yeah, Mike's not even in.
Well then in that case we'll wait on Siefker then, because those are two completely different interviews that we're doing, depending upon Nate Siefker. So Mike Grandy wins the race. And this is the second time a Voodoo racing car has come up on the short end of a dead heat finish this season. So remember, it was Michael Sturgill.
Yeah, I believe that's referred to as losing the battle but winning the war.
No. The Sturgill lost the...
Yeah, he did.
Lost the dead heat tie, and now it's Siefker.
Well, I mean, if you look at the picture, I just sent you the picture that I took of the screen cap at the line. There's maybe the width of a foot. Like, you look down at your foot and how wide it is. That's the difference between those two cars at the stripe.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's...
And for those of you wondering about the picture that we're talking about, you can find it later tonight on ESPNofficial.com.
Yes, you'll find it there.
Posted.
We'll be posting it to the Facebook channel, Facebook page as well. You know what? As a matter of fact, Tony, if you would be so kind, don't keep the people from that.
I shall do so right now.
So any second now, you'll be able to see how close this finish was. And again, we are stalling a little bit here.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to see if I can do it this way. Nope, I'm not able to.
Again, we are stalling a little bit here because we're trying to determine whether or not Siefker is the champion, and if he is, that's a completely different interview from just interviewing a guy who finished in second. So we're patiently awaiting the official results. We assume we know what's happened, but we're not entirely sure. And much in the same way of the iRacing East Super Speedway Series finale on Friday the 18th, which was our last race together before tonight's race. We're patiently awaiting the results. But boy, oh boy, what a race we saw here. Bless you. What a race we've just seen here overall tonight. I mean, this has been a phenomenal race from start to finish. Had that rocky start at the beginning with the wreck prior to the start line. But beyond that, it has been one heck of a race.
Oh, absolutely.
Sorry to cut you off there, Tony. I can officially announce we have a new champion.
Well, there it is. So Nate Siefker is your champion. So we will bring him in here,
to your channel.
Not just as the second place finisher, but as your Sim Racers Edge Alpha Series Season 1 champion, Nate. Congratulations.
Man, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, that was awesome. I'm not sure what the results were from the race yet. I don't know. I think they're talking about it, but yeah,
It was Grandy beat you by 0.00.
Oh, they were discussing something about the line. I really wasn't paying attention to it. But yeah, that's still, regardless, that's awesome.
User left your channel.
To do it in the first season, that's just incredible, honestly. So I'm really thankful and privileged to be the first here to claim the championship. You know, it feels awesome. Yeah, I didn't practice my speech, obviously, so I'm really at a loss of words.
No, that's good. That's better. We don't want you to have words for this. Just talk about the race. We had talked to Timothy Bates a little bit earlier on after that wreck up at the front with him and Brigelli, saying just how different the racing was from here as compared to Auto Club. Very similar tracks, but you're running a completely different tire model, a completely different aero model to what we were running back at the season opener. Still got the same finish, but how much more difficult was it this time around as compared to running at Auto Club?
Auto Club was, the bottom was king all night long, and here the top, I just worked the top all night long. The middle seemed to be the best lane to be in because you could cover the base on the bottom, you could cover the base on the top. I ran the top all night. That's where I found the most grip all night long. It's where I found, the cleanest air all night long. And I was surprised more people weren't running up there, honestly.
Sorry to cut you off there, but I've just had word from SRE admins that, Nate, you have been declared the winner. Mike Grandy actually broke a rule and has now been put to the end of the lead lap, so congratulations on the win as well.
Oh, he's on the apron. Oh shoot, yeah. I just saw that. He's on the apron.
Okay, so that completely...
For those of you wondering what we're talking about, I just posted the picture to the Sim Racers Edge website, Facebook page, and it is also found on the ESPN Facebook page. The finish of the race. If you'll look, Nate Siefker is in the Dayglow purple and black car with Voodoo on the side pod that says number 10. Mike Grandy is in the 5-Hour Energy red and black car. I didn't even realize it when I first took the picture, but you're right. Grandy's on the apron, which is out of bounds.
So here we are. We're actually looking at a replay here. We will show you, and we will stop it.
Sorry, Nate.
At that point. Right. But you can see here on this replay here, right when they hit the line, yep, he is well and clearly down below the yellow line. So, and Nate, thank you I want to thank your internet, by the way, because you completely killed that finish. You blinked right at the start line.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. I didn't realize it either. I just, something else. So
well, I also made the comment earlier that, Chris and Butch are probably saying, where's that bottle of Gatorade from the girlfriend when we need her?
Yeah.
So race winner and now champion. Champion and now race winner. It's been one heck of a night, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. A little long, but I'll take it. So, yeah, what part is this? What am I doing here, actually? What am I talking about? I lost track already.
I don't think it's really sunk in yet that he just won the championship and the race.
Let's just skip ahead to let's stop thinking about this week here for a second. Let's go to next week. At Watkins Glen. Now there's no more pressure of the championship. It's over. What are your thoughts going into Watkins Glen?
Yeah, it was going to be stressful next week. I already had it in my mindset that next week was going to be difficult with the new tire model and the compounds and learning. It'll be a learning experience for all. I think you'll see some people who aren't traditionally really good on road courses do really well. And I think you see people like myself and Rick and the Butch. We might struggle, adapting because we've been so used to the old tire model. So I think really it could be probably a pretty big mix-up overall. I'm just curious to see how the new stuff works out, and I'm really thankful. You know, I have a lot less stress now, I guess. I'm going into there, so.
All right. Anyone you want to thank before we let you celebrate not just a race win but a championship as well?
There's a plethora, man. I'm going to be a little bit longer this time, I think. First off, I want to thank you guys for putting this on tonight. You know, a little long, but you guys put on a great broadcast. You know, I got people that watch our races and they say how great of a job you guys do week in and week out. So really thankful for you guys to be a part of our journey here at Sim Racers Edge and just be a part of it and showing the world what we can do here. And I want to thank all the drivers. And this wouldn't be possible without any of them. You know, there's leagues I've been a part in where it's, you know, the head guy's doing this thing and everybody follows suit. It really here, it's everyone's participating. Everybody's taking part. Everybody's proposing ideas and making the league overall better. So I'm really thankful as an admin that this league is very hands-on from everybody, and I'm really appreciative of that. And I want to thank our admin group that, you know, has done an incredible job over the past 4 months on this journey. Hasn't been easy. We've gone through a lot of stuff, both in the league and personally with a lot of us. And it's been incredible to have all of them I consider great friends and to have them be a part of this journey with doing this. You know, it was a dream of mine to help run a league and be competitive in it. And I'm thankful that I'm able to do that. So I want to thank those guys as well. And I really just want to thank literally anybody has been any part of my life, honestly, in terms of just either sim racing or personally even talking about this. It really is incredible to have people who don't really understand it, sim racing overall, have the sense of knowing how serious it is and how passionate it is for people like me and Butch and Rick. You know, it's incredible, and you guys too. You guys are passionate about it as well. It takes a lot for people to understand how a video game can be, or a simulator can be passionate, and I really thank all those people as well. So, really, tonight's championship isn't really kind of a cherry on top for about 3.5 years of sim racing for me on iRacing. It really it means a lot more than that because of the friends I've made and along this journey.
All right, so there is your race winner, your inaugural Sim Racers Edge Alpha Series champion, Nate Siefker. Bud, congratulations on a well-deserved championship.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
I can't wait till to hear tomorrow's Siefker story.
There you go. See you guys.
All right, so that was your champion, Nate Siefker.
User was moved out of your channel.
William Fletcher is no longer available for.
He's coming back. I just told him to come back.
He is. Okay, so he will be here, and Tony will be interviewing William Fletcher here in just a moment as your second place finisher here tonight. And again,
which moves Dan Brazington up to third.
Yep. So Dan Brazington gets his second consecutive podium on the run. As we will now,
I'd say bring in.
There
he is.
Tony has William Fletcher with him now. Where did he go?
User
Where did he
was
go?
moved
There
to your
he is.
channel.
All right, so Tony is with William now.
Will Fletcher, nothing short of a miraculous run. During the green flag pit stop, you lost a little bit of time to the lead pack, but you persevered. You hung in there. And being scored in second place, sir, congratulations.
Thank you. That was a fun run. Yeah, I had fun.
Coming in towards the tail end of the event, coming to the finish, you had a hell of a run coming down the back straightaway. You were able to get by Brazington and secure that second place finish. Talk us through that final series of cautions and pit stops and what was going through your mind, because you were one of the few cars, or actually you were one of the leading cars that came down with about 16 to go under that caution to get tires and fuel. Was that a strategy you were planning on doing, or were you just kind of hoping for the best and just figured, let's roll the dice?
Roll the dice, but at the same time, I always try to go in the pits. Like if the first two guys in front of me go in, I'll follow. Nate stayed out. Somebody stayed out and I played it for him. But fresh tires, and then when we came back out, I was only back about 3 or 4 cars. So,
well, you were definitely a strong car all night. Qualified 5th. That's an amazing lap that you laid down. Going sub 33 here is not the easiest thing to do. Especially, the last time we were on a 2-mile track, it was Auto Club at night. And, Michigan and Auto Club, they're sister tracks, sort of, but the way that the tracks have matured since their last repaves, talk us through what was different that you felt tonight.
iRacing's done an awesome job on the weather and the tires. And every time they make a change, it just gets better. And it seems to be, for me, in my favor as far as adapting. I shift a lot too. That helps, I think.
Fair enough. But, Will, moving forward, season finale next week at my home track, Watkins Glen. Your thoughts going through the boot next week?
I got thousands of laps at Watkins. That's one of my favorite tracks.
Fair enough. Will, we're going to let you get back and celebrate with your crew. Is there anybody you want to thank before we let you go, though?
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to grumpy old Carl Burke. He's one of my buds. He's helped me out a whole bunch last 5 years. I got to give him a big shout out.
All right. Well, Will, again, congratulations on your podium. Looking forward to seeing what kind of luck you have next week at the Glen.
Yep. Thank you. And the rest of the guys. It was an awesome run. I had no issues. It was awesome racing for the most part.
All right. We'll see you next week at Watkins Glen then, Will.
Thank you. You too. And shout out to ESPN and you guys on the booth.
Thank you, sir.
User was moved out of your channel.
So we
User
now
was moved to your
move
channel.
to the 3rd place finisher, Dan Brazington. And Dan, another podium finish here. Make the father-in-law happy.
Yeah, I did.
What was it like battling with Fletcher those last couple laps? Because you guys, all 4 of you, really were right there. It just took one. It was going to take one slip up, and unfortunately, William ended up beating you. But what was it like in that 4-car battle at the end there?
That was wild. Anybody would have messed up right there. It would have took all of us out. That was some good, close, hard racing. I'm just glad I kept the car under me. I bobbled it going into 3 and 4, and he got up under me. So, but other than that, that was some good racing.
What was the car like for you all race long? You didn't really show up at the front until the later ends of the race. What was the feeling of the car for you?
Well, the majority of the race, I was just riding. I know we had a long way to go, and I didn't want to push the issue and have it get caught up in somebody else's stuff. So I just kind of rode in the back, and it was fine. The car had a pretty good balance to it until it got a low fuel load, and then you had to really pedal it, especially coming out of 2. It would just crank around on you. So, but other than that, it had a real good balance. The setup was pretty good.
All right, heading into Watkins Glen next week, the season finale. What what are your thoughts going into Watkins Glen next week?
100% survival mode. I'm not a road course guy. I'm just going to try to survive, get what I can, and stay out of people's way that's better than me at it. So,
And fight to make the father-in-law happy, right?
That's right.
That's. What do you want to thank before we let you go?
Oh, well, first off, I want to congratulate Nate on his championship. He fought hard, worked hard to get to where he's at, so congratulations to him. And I'd like to thank my wife and my kids again for allowing me to be up here and do this, and especially y'all, ESPN, for putting on a broadcast, put on a show every Wednesday night for us, and we appreciate it. And I like to thank everybody that shows up, the viewers, the drivers, everybody that shows up and puts an effort in to make this what it is. The only way we can go now is up. Bigger and better things are hopefully on the horizon, so just stay tuned. It's going to get better.
All right, so there's your third place finisher, Dan Brazenton. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
All right, so as the clock ticks over to New Year's Eve, Melinda Stogdill, I believe that's how you pronounce it. I apologize if I messed that up. Happy birthday to Jeff Roulette. Now, I'm not sure if that's the 30th or the 31st. Maybe you can clear that up in the chat there. But happy birthday to Jeffrey Roulette.
And as it's midnight, let's. I think I speak for Tony as well. But we would like to wish one Mr. Frank Marchese on his birthday. So many happy
dick!
returns,
I was about
sir.
to do that.
Well, there you go. So, as a matter of fact, with it being New Year's Eve and another year has come and gone. This one felt like 75 years, but as another year has come and gone, I'm going to bow out right now and let you guys have the floor to talk about a 2020 that was and what you guys are looking forward to in 2021. So you guys have at it.
Well, if I can start, Sam, I'll let you have anchor on this one. I want to thank all my friends that I've made in the sim racing world. This time last year, I was in a rehab center trying to learn how to walk again. I'm still not able to do so, but it was my friends in sim racing who said, "Hey, we want you to come back and broadcast again. What'll it take?" And they did it for me. Without them, I would not be here on the air with you right now. So to all my friends, that helped with that, I wish you all a happy and prosperous new year, and may your lives turn for the better. I've got to thank everybody at ESPN for letting me come back. I was a little hesitant at first to do it because it had been over a year since I had broadcast, due to health issues and other issues that were going on in my life. I've got to thank you guys for welcoming me back with open arms. I mean, I know, we fight like, brothers at times, but, I know that the love is there, from you guys, and everybody that has helped me get to the point in my life where I'm able to be independent again and, be able to be here and help broadcast these races. I kind of took it for granted a couple of years ago, back when I used to broadcast regularly with ESPN before I had to take my break. I took it for granted that, I'm just going to jump on and broadcast. Well, now I look at it with different eyes. I get the privilege to be here every Wednesday night for Sim Racers Edge, especially. I get to be here for the different series that I broadcast throughout the week or fill in for throughout the week. You know, and it really means a lot to know that the people that watch these broadcasts enjoy them. You know, that was the goal when Sam and I first started this company. Jesus, it's going on 3.5 years now.
Yeah, 3.5 years. Yeah.
I can't believe it's been that long, but you know, that was the one thing we wanted to do, was just have fun. You know, and Sam, I mean, you and I have known each other for over 4 years now. And,
5 years.
Actually, you know, it's been 6 actually, because we started running in 2014 together with a league that's no longer in existence. But you know, when the opportunity showed itself to start broadcasting outside of what I had been doing at the time, in, you know, the little piddly thing that I was trying to learn, you know, you were the first person that I thought of to join me in the booth. And for those of you who are unaware, you know, we used to be called Bofa Broadcasting because Sam's a little crazy, I'm a little crazy. So it was two nuts in a booth. Plain and simple. That's how we started the name. And then things started to get a little more serious. And, you know, looking back, it's one of those deals where you just kind of look at it and go, how the hell did we get here? You know, right now we've got 4 broadcast teams with the company, and we've got at least 1 broadcast every night of the week. And coming up here in the new year, most nights of the week, we're going to be doing 2 broadcasts at the same time.
Yeah.
So to have grown from 1 night a week, just having fun with it, to having multiple broadcasts a night, 4 broadcast teams, and, you know, meeting all these the wonderful people that we've got working with the company. From the bottom of my heart, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this broadcast, thank you so much, because it means a lot to know that you're enjoying what we're doing.
Yeah,
Sam?
and I think you said a lot of what I was going to say with the whole, like, look at where we are now. We've taken on some big strides over the past 3.5 years. Obviously, Frank coming on board, and he's become Frank, you've become one of the mainstays of the broadcast teams. Byron, obviously running things from behind the scenes and being on the broadcast booth as well with the bringing on new leagues and controlling the financial aspects of what we have to do in order to be able to broadcast. We've got names in here: Kevin Cunyu, Jonathan Leach, Ernest King. Obviously, Ernest is on a bit of a hiatus right now, so hopefully we'll have him back soon. We've even taken on the likes of Jake Sperry, and I don't need to say any more than that of how talented Jake Sperry is, and we are very happy to have him on board, calling the E-Formula Series alongside Frank. From my own perspective, yeah, it's been a tough year for myself. I've been off work, nearly 6 months now with a back injury, and it's been pretty crazy for myself. But it's been a tough year for everybody, and I'm just glad that we've been able to bring everybody a little bit of a smile and a bit of enjoyment along the way. We hit a big milestone back in June, I think it was. We hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and going back on what Tony says, we started out just having a bit of fun, just me and Tony, just doing this thing 3.5 years ago, and to hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube is a massive achievement from where we started, and we're going from stride to stride. We've got 3,500 followers on Facebook alone, and I just got to say thank you to everybody who's come along and just joined us for this ride, and it's been fantastic. And it's going to be even more fun in the future. We've got new leagues, new things. We've extended our contract with iRacing East. We're bringing them 2 nights a week now. Sim Racers Edge will be coming back for a 2nd season as well. Western States, they're coming back. USRA, we've got an ever-growing relationship with those guys, and of course we've got
just a bunch of new leagues in the works.
Yeah, majors as well. What a coup for us to get majors. I mean, Majors is probably one of, if not the biggest league on iRacing, and we are going to be proud to bring that to you guys in 2021, starting on January 6th, I think. So early with, second week in January, we will be bringing the first race to Daytona 2.4 hours. So make sure you tune in for that one. But from my own perspective, it's been a hard year for me. I've been off with a back injury. I had suspected COVID at the start of the year, and that was rough. And I was really bad with it. I don't know if you guys remember. I don't think you were there at that time, Frank, but no, but I was out. You I don't think even you were back yet, Tony, were you?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, and
you were having a big scare, and the fact that you're still with us and still around and kicking, it's good that you're still with us, and I thank the powers that be that you are still with us.
Yeah, and obviously in the past month or so, I've been backing down on doing broadcasts and stuff like that. Not mainly due to mental health and things like that. I do suffer from depression and stuff like that, and it does get me down every now and again. But the year has ended on a happy note. I've been able to find a lucky lady in my life, and Catherine Lever, if you're watching or listening at any point, then I thank you for bringing me the best end to the year possible. Yeah, it's been a tough year, but it's been a happy year at the end of it. So looking forward to more in 2021, and we're looking forward to bringing you more stuff in 2021 as well. It's going to be a wild year, guys. I hope you're strapped in for the ride.
Absolutely, and I think, Sam, I think I just picked us up a second dirt league on Thursday night. So back-to-back dirt broadcasts.
Oh no. Well, with that being said, Tony, last broadcast of the year. I'm going to leave this one to you to bring us to the end here, because I think it's only fitting, soon as you don't normally get to finish these things very often.
Yeah, it's been a while. But ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, share, turn on bell notifications so you don't miss a single lap of action coming up in the new year here on ESPN. And if you haven't already subscribed on the Facebook or on the YouTube side, we are only 670 subscribers away from Sam Cooper Bennett having to get the ESPN logo as a tramp stamp.
No, I've already said this a million times. It's not happening.
So... again, don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, share, turn on bell notifications. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you to all the leagues that have put their faith in us. And thank you most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, for allowing us into your homes this Wednesday night and every night that you do tune in to broadcast with us. For Mr. Frank Marchese, for Mr. Sam Cooper Bennett, for the entire ESPN broadcast team, thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you next week from Watkins Glen. And in the meantime, Happy New Year, everybody.